twist in a silver sun. You can text me later, room 501. Killer whips and a kick drum. Waste it away on seas and sun. Midnight approaching, all of your friends are here. We're all smiling ear to ear. Come disappear. Let the love and sound surround you. 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 100 lives, a million ways. Let the love and sound surround you. Joy-filled eyes with a lost and found. 100 lives, a better fate. I'd take flight with our heels to ground. We move in sound.
"12 rounds, ding ding. Sick and tired of the whole damn thing, yeah. Stick a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, 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 no. Got the belt like a king. Heavyweight champion of the whole damn thing, yo. Full of gas, full of spin. Jekyll and Hyde, you're the evil twin. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, you're never gonna. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, 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 no. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. Be lucky if I stick around. Maybe foolish, but I ain't a clown. No, no, no. You're never gonna keep me down. You're never gonna keep me down. No, 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 no.
I keep myself in the dark, shadows watching over me, over me. You flick the switch, made a spark. From then on I wore my heart upon my sleeve. With you I bear all the scars. I was left with paper skin, you let me in. A different home, broken start. Baby, where do I begin? I begin. Rising up, we touch the sky. Won't be promising that I raising the bets, pushing higher, risking everything for us. It's all for us. Rising up, we touch the sky. Won't be promising that I won't ever let you fall. We could build a mountain stories high if we played a game just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, keep rising up just to fall down. 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 Down. We could build a mountain stories high if we played a game just you and I. Whoa, like a house of cards, house of cards. Hey, when it all comes crashing to the ground, we can start again and work it out. Like a house of cards, house of cards.
Hello once again and welcome to EPT Retro. It's the show where we send an intern into the PokerStars archive to pull out some old videotapes, get them digitized, remove the old commentary and provide some new words, giving you what we like to call a 2020 perspective on old poker from the mid to late 2000s. We're in the year 2010. We're coming to the end of season 6 of the European Poker Tour. That also means we're coming to the end of this season of EPT Retro. I am James Hartigan, joined as ever by Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my retro babies. What's happening, James?
Yeah, I mean, I call it this season. The reality is that this could well be the last Retro for a long time. I know that you floated the idea of maybe visiting some other tours. Maybe we can squeeze in one more season of the EPT. We'll see. But let's celebrate the good times we've had so far, and let's celebrate what we're going to be doing today. Tomorrow, we're going to wrap up season
Wait, are you
6.
telling me that my idea for EPT Retro has been rejected?
Yes, I am telling you that. I was going to try and let you down more gently, but I've just decided to give you a straight no to your face live on air. Tomorrow, San Remo and Monte Carlo. That's going to close out season 6. The two events that came before that were Deauville and Berlin. So we find ourselves back in France. Last week, hope you enjoyed the streams. Great events from PCA 2010. And a couple of weeks later, in late January of 2010, we were back on European soil for the Deauville leg of the EPT. And back in this era, and I think this is very much in line with the delayed poker boom in France, with the licensing of that market, with the sites launching there, we saw close to 800 runners in this event. And bear in mind, was it after 2015, Joe, that Deauville was removed from the tour because numbers were starting to decline? Well, 5 years previous to that, it was one of the biggest stops on the EPT. 768 runners in 2010, a prize pool of 3.68 million because it's a €5,000 buy-in event with 104 players getting paid and a first prize of more than 850 grand. Along with Barcelona and San Remo, this was one of the biggest events on the tour.
Yeah, I think what eventually ended up happening, James, is that there's not a lot to do in Deauville, right? So once you've been there a few times, it started to become a destination you could miss. But I will admit, it is really spectacular the first couple times you go. Like just being in a very old part of the world, the north of France, on the sea there,
Yeah.
the architecture, the culture of that part of France was really pretty captivating the first few times.
Yeah, and it was the only EPT I ever got to play. Also, other connection. People love my Bond trivia. I say love, hate, despise, dread. The casino in Deauville, the Casino Barrier on the Normandy coast, was the inspiration for Casino Royale in the Ian Fleming novel that was first published in the early 1950s. So again, there's a Bond connection there. And it is a beautiful building, and it's an old world hotel that has a lot of charm. And I do miss it as a destination. This was not the last time we got to go. It was the first time, though, that I got to work with the local production company. So we covered season 5 Deauville, Joe. And remember, it was a local production made for French TV, and it was never produced in the English language. So when we did our retro commentary a few weeks back, that was the first time that English language coverage of that event had ever been out there. Well, this event was localized. I don't want to say anything too detrimental about this production, but it was not good enough to go on Channel 4 in the UK. So we knew that when we produced English language highlight shows, they were only ever going to live on YouTube. But myself and Luca Pagano, and it was the only time I ever got to work with Luca as a co-commentator, sat in a voiceover booth in London, and we revoiced these shows in the English language. They are quintessentially French, and there are some interesting stylistic choices with how this event is covered. A few weeks back on the Poker in the Ears podcast, Joe and I had the misfortune of watching Battlefield Earth. It was a film which one of our superfans selected for the quiz, and Battlefield Earth employs a lot of Dutch angles, which is basically where you angle the camera at 45 degrees. At best, it makes the audience think like you can't afford a tripod. At worst, it makes people feel physically nauseous. Film students try it and then immediately realize it doesn't work. The French love it. So look out for plenty of Dutch angles during our coverage of EPT6 Deauville. We are going to pick up the action on day 4 of this event. In fact, let's have a look at the key stats as we join the action here. We're down to the final 24 players. So we're down to the final 3 tables. Blinds are 12.24. Average stack is just shy of $1 million. And the chip leader right now with a stack of nearly 3.2 million is a player called Teodor Karaba, who is from Romania.
Year of Romania.
Without further ado, let our coverage of EPT6 Deauville from 2010 commence.
Now Robert is on the bottom, LP on the small blind, and Jacks on the big blind.
We've got some big names going deep in this event, by the way, including a few potential 2-time champions. Mike Mcdonald is in the field. Elke still has chips.
Not Andrus Namath, though. He won't be going deep.
Bruno Fatoussi.
Hey, Bruno.
5-4 of diamonds.
Raise 60,000.
Now Bruno raises up to 60,000.
A couple of friends of mine were reminiscing about the Aviation Club, James. Did you ever get a chance to go there?
I did, yes, in 2006.
And Jacks on the big blind re-raises all in.
So this is Jacques Génie.
Jenny was a friend.
90,000.
Actually, I'm guessing it's Génie.
It's
Jenny was a friend.
More for Bruno to call.
Bruno, buddy.
90, c'est ça 90 de plus.
Already has a significant percentage committed. Pot odds dictate that 90k to call, even so.
Not quite there. But they're suited.
Well, the irony is, Joe, we're seeing the whole cards and seeing the percentages, this would be the correct call.
And Bruno calls.
Without that
Well,
information,
somehow he knew.
I'm not convinced, but yes, he has got live cards.
Now Jacks is the only player with ace of spades, eight of spades, against
Bon
Bruno
chance.
with 4 diamonds, 5 of diamonds. Jacks is the
Why do
only
I
player
feel like
with
this isn't going to be
ace, eight
bon
of
chance?
spades.
This is going to be bonsoir.
And the flop comes ace of diamonds, 3 of diamonds,
Whoa!
4 of hearts.
Not going to
So
lie,
now the only player
James.
still
Not
on the lead with
hating
4
that.
of aces, but Bruno has straight flush draw.
We have seen the flop 2 player
Jacks doesn't want to see.
montage before, just without the fast zoom together of the 3 elements.
Tonka is another 4, so now make
I didn't mind that at all. By the way, yeah, monster draw, says Baby Dog.
I'm going to try and dial down this table announcer because it's driving me nuts.
it's a queen.
He's a little loud.
No help for Jacks, so please big round of applause for 24th place.
I think the audio mix was a kind of optional extra with French TV production, as we see Jacques go out in 23rd place, cashing for 18,400 euros.
My guess is the French commentators just talked non-stop over it all.
Tu vois ce que je veux dire? On perd pas immédiatement. On peut.
He didn't just say 5-4 against ace-8 was a cooler, did he?
I think he's saying he got lucky. 22 players remaining now. Karaba's still the chip leader. Blind still 12-24.
And it's 12:55 p.m. Thank you.
The most important stat of all. Pocket fives for Fatoussi.
Well, this has got 5-4 crushed.
Bruno raises up to 60,000.
A raise to 60k. Short-haired Elke has folded. Pocket queens here for Peter Bosen from Germany.
On the button, re-raises.
All in for 218,000.
Man, unfortunately, this guy looks a lot like Chris D'Elia.
Small blind pass.
Sorry, dude.
Big blind pass. Action is on Bruno.
Action back on Fatoussi.
Talked himself into it last time.
I don't know. Yes, you know. Forgot.
Ah.
Yes, you know. You forgot, but you know, right?
Well, these two are going to be
That was
friends.
a very quick all-in. Feel like you have an ace something. I hope I'm not making any mistake.
Like calling it off with a 5-4.
You won't get him, huh?
Well, Fatoussi calls, and it is Domination Nation. The Queens of Bosen dominating the fives of Fatoussi, and the German, an 81% favorite to double up here.
Why is he standing up?
So now Peter is all in with
Good luck. Good luck.
pocket queens.
As long as he doesn't call for outs, he should be all right.
And the flop comes 6 of spades, king of clubs, 8 of hearts. So Peter, the only player still on the lead with
T-Bands on Twitch says 5 incoming. I'm feeling it too, man.
2 cards.
Yeah, 5 on the turn, and Bosen now dead to a queen on the river.
Peter needs 1.
I'm sorry, Peter Bosen, but you just look like an extra.
And the river card.
Bosen busted, out in 22nd place, cashing for 18,400 euros, taking us down to the final 21. 3 tables of 7 remaining in this event from January 2010, the Deauville leg of season 6 of the EPT. Blinds now 15,000, 30,000.
Robert pass. Elke and Freddy pass.
Come on, Elke, do hey, Freddie Deeb.
Like 700? Something like that.
Here to teach a lesson to all the loser nerds.
This is Craig Bergeron from the US with ace-6 in the small blind.
Glad they have the American flag to let us know that guy's from the U.S.
Craig raises 95,000.
Nice close-up of Bruno Fatussi's ear.
Obviously, you don't understand French filmmaking, James.
95, right? Yeah. Cool. They need to turn the air conditioner up.
Bruno calls.
Fatoussi calls. This time he has the dominating hand.
9 of spades, 5 of spades, 8 of clubs.
What are you chuckling at now?
The flop. Do it. Do some more. Do it slowly.
We're going to see the turn. It's a 10 of diamonds.
Okay, so Fatoussi now a 9-1 favourite.
Now would not be a good time to bet, Bergeron.
Craig raises.
84,000.
84,000.
Craig bets 84,000. Seems like a pretty easy call for Bruno. But he does.
All in.
Okie doke.
Bruno announces all in.
Pass.
Craig passes.
That seemed unnecessary.
Yep.
10-8 you have? No.
So apparently we're down to 18 players already.
I just don't want to see the last.
So we're going to check on who is still alive in this event. Pay attention, this goes quickly. Got Mike
Okay.
McDonald, Elke,
What?
Freddie Deeb, Peter Eastgate, Martin Stashko, Fatoussi we've seen already, and we've got Harry Tweel and Stefan Albertini.
So straight.
That was good work, man.
Freddie Deeb.
Freddie Deeb.
I can't win without luck anyway.
Raise 80,000.
Raising under the gun with ace-5.
Craig pass.
John Delano says, I blinked 3 times and missed each screen.
Small blind pass.
The Elkster with jacks. I love the way that the microphone is so big, it's weighing down his t-shirt and exposing an unnecessary quantity of chest hair.
I promise you that. Okay. So if it comes 10-4.
Here comes the flop.
Must be weird for Elke being in France, considering this is the country he decided to lie about being from.
Queen of clubs.
Looks like we're down to 16 already.
Freddie Deeb
Raise 90,000 from Freddie.
trying to take this down with a C-bet. Not going to work with just the 1 overcard out there.
Call.
Elke just calls, just in case he is up against the
And
queen.
the turn is a 2
So
of
Freddie
clubs.
picks up a wheel draw on the turn.
Check.
I
Elke
did not
checks.
even notice that. Thank you, James.
Okay.
And this is a pretty safe card
Freddie checks.
for Elke to call again if he has to. He did not have to.
8 of diamonds.
That's about as good a run out as you could ask for with pocket jacks. We may see Elke. Nope, he decides that he wants to try to pick off a bluff.
Flows check.
Freddie does not oblige him.
It's high.
Susik. Blinds are 20,000 to 40,000, and oh my God, these eliminations. I mean, I'm all for highlights, I'm all for condensing play, but this is getting silly.
How many episodes is this?
I think they get down from 24 to 9 in a single episode.
At least it's not to the winner.
Raise 100,000.
Bruno raises up to 100,000. Drop pass.
Bruno opening with jacks makes it 100K.
Elke pass.
Pass.
Freddie pass.
Pass.
Jacques.
With Albertini folding, action will be on Craig Bergeron.
Le commentateur, we call them Jacques.
Must have close to 1. On.
What?
Oh boy.
How
Yikes.
much you've got? 1.8. Man, I think this is time. I call.
Yeah, all into call and makes the correct call. And these are not two short stacks. This seems
No.
ludicrous.
Yeah, I mean,
5-8 of clubs.
I would have to think about calling with jacks for a little bit. Oh no. Oh no.
Flop come 5.
Only the 5. Jacks
I mean, Bergeron's.
still way ahead. 3-1 favorite.
And this is not a good turn.
Of clubs, so there are 2 clubs.
Flush draw now for Bergeron.
He doesn't want to see a 5, an 8, or any club.
Yeah, that's a lot of outs.
And let's see the river card.
River card is a club. The flush for Bergeron and Bruno Fatoussi eliminated in 14th place.
How do you not go on an insane tirade when that happens? Like, I kind of liked Bruno before, but for him to just be like, yeah, c'est la vie. What's that thing French people do? And just walk away from that after getting jack cracked by
Look,
some absolute
Joe, I can't
garbage.
keep up. But the good news is that we're going to see names of people who aren't even in this anymore.
Great. And not have the time to name check them at all.
Wait for it,
Sorry,
wait for it,
I
wait for
was-
it,
I
wait for
wanted
it,
to
wait
give-
for it. Joe, wait for it. Here it comes.
You know what? They're trying. I love a good trier.
I agree with you. It's very trying.
94.
Now Stefan raises up to 94,000.
Albertini opening with ace-8 of diamonds.
James, you want to go to the bar after this? Get an Albertini?
All in.
Robert re-raises.
All in from Robert Cesarescu.
Claudia Paz,
You're Romania.
164.
164,000.
Now
more
this,
to
I
go.
think, is an HTC situation.
Calls.
Justifiably.
And it is a classic race. Ace-8 against pocket threes.
Now Robert is all in with pocket 3.
I can't remember which one of these I haven't done yet. We've been in 2010 for so long. Like Rock Band 3 versus Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. Sorry. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
And let's see the flop. Flop comes.
Albertini has paired his 8
8 of spades.
on the flop.
Stefan
Cesarescu down to 10%.
and Robert will need a tray to stay alive in the tournament. Let's see the top card. It's a 7.
Only
Now he needs a tray.
a 3? A 6 for a chop, I guess. Hence the 9% equity.
And let's see the river card.
It's Barry Greenstein, ace on the river, and that will send Robert Cesarescu to the rail in 13th place. He cashes for 28,000 euros.
The whole way they do their transitions with the screens getting bigger and smaller is very Guy Ritchie.
I don't think that's a compliment.
I spot a Hungarian poker celebrity.
Freddie raises.
Yeah, we noticed Martin Stashko's name
Thank you.
on the leaderboard.
293.
The all-in from Freddie is 290,000. Stefan calls.
And here we go. D-ball in with ace-8 against Stefan Albertini's pocket 7s.
We got 2 sevens.
See the cards.
Like
Now
303 versus BOB.
And
8 of diamonds
it's just 1 minute ago.
against Stefan.
One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
And let's see the flop.
Albertini has the 7 of hearts as backup.
Did I say 2003? I meant 2010.
Stefan is still in the lead with pocket sevens. He's the only player with a heart.
Freddie Deeb would like a different flop.
Ace of spade I need. Oh, maybe a 9 now.
Yeah.
An ace.
Pick up 3 more outs.
It's crazy they knew about counterfeits even back in 2010.
9 is good.
And let's see the river cup.
9 one time, buddy.
No, it's a deuce, and Freddie Deeb is out in 12th place.
Big round of applause for 12.
35,000 euros for Freddie.
Good luck.
Even though he's out of the tournament, he's still short.
Good luck. Thank you.
Craig is on the big blind. Claudio is on the bottom.
And who is this human?
Katia Portal. Sorry, Alexia Portal.
Raise 95,000.
Elki pass.
Pass.
Claudio pass on the bottom.
Pass.
Stefan pass on the small blind.
You gonna jam again, Craig?
Every time I see his name, I want to play the Bergerac theme. Bang, bang, bang.
Calls on the small blind. So 2 players.
Bow, 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 bow.
Alexia.
That's a
Reminds me
TV
of
show.
My favorite America's Funniest Home Videos host.
I was going to say, I imagine Bergerac is a TV show that never made it across the Atlantic.
I do not know Bergerac.
Check.
Craig checks.
It was about
Is it about a TV director, a TV detective who gets all of his clues whispered to him from a guy on the balcony?
No. It's about a detective on the island of Jersey.
Check.
Alexia checks.
Is that like the Isle of Man, but more grim?
The 9 of diamonds.
Jersey's very nice. The irony is it doesn't have a lot of crime, so you'd think there wouldn't be enough material for a multiple season crime drama. Somehow they made it work.
93,000.
I mean, Murder, She Wrote was about a sleepy town in Maine, yet someone got murdered every week.
Clearly, she was the killer, or the dad from Happy Days. So she's picked up the gut shot straight draw on the turn. Bergeron has led with top pair for 93,000.
Raise.
And Portal is going to raise the turn.
I actually don't hate this. I think you can get like a lot of better hands to fold. Not this particular better hand all the time, but lots of better hands. And chances are your kings are good, your queens are good. Obviously, the gut shot's good.
Bergeron calls. The hand is going to the river, which is the 7 of diamonds. Doesn't change anything. He now has a lock on it.
Craig checks.
Now, obviously, you're not going to be good at showdown here. But does your, this isn't really the best run out to bluff again. And you have to make sure you're bluffing the kind of person that's capable of folding top pair, not great kicker. And I don't know that Bergeron is. Unfortunately, the clubs missed. Some weird straight draws got there, like 8-10. I guess that's the only one. Yeah. Wow, she just checks out. I love a good check out.
Pot goes to Craig and he shows 8 of hearts.
I wonder if he would have folded to it with significant bet there. I don't think he would have.
25.50 the blinds. Action on Stefan Albertini.
Albertini, by the way, is a vodka martini with shoe polish.
Oh my God, make it stop!
Oh, look at that.
Raises to 105,000 with pocket fives. Alexia Portal shoves with ace-jack.
Really don't want her to leave so soon.
Claudio pass.
And this is a genuine HTC moment.
It's 345,000.
345.
345 to pay.
This guy's a poker leader. Who does not know how to stack chips. Holy canted angle, Batman. It does make me kind of sick to my stomach.
I'd like to tell you that it stops after a while. I'd be lying.
Stefan calls. We have an all-in. Stefan calls.
We are flipping again, this time like the Amazon Kindle 3 versus the Dell Inspiron 15-1564.
Ace of spades.
One of
jack
these two
diamonds.
things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
Comes the flop.
Portal needs to hit.
Flop comes
Does
six
not
of
connect with the
hearts,
flop.
King of spades. 9 of clubs. The turn. 8 of clubs.
No additional outs. An ace or a jack on the river needed, or Alexia Portal is out in 10th place.
Comes the river. 10 of spades.
And that will do it for Alexia. She is out in 10th for 51,500 euros. And we're down
We're
to
at
a
10th?
single table of 9.
I feel like if she wins that flip, I probably would have heard of her before now.
So all the remaining players at one table, the unofficial final table. There is chip leader Theodor Karaba.
Still chip leader, nice.
Elke,
Theodor pass.
King 10.
Alexia Portal is a French actress, best known for her role as Beatrice Roman's son's girlfriend in the 1998 film Autumn Tale.
Hashtag fun facts.
Peter,
Peter Eastgate has folded.
Greg pass.
Round to Mike Timex Mcdonald. He passes. And this is our first look at the red hoodie of Jake Cody. When we get to the break, we'll talk a bit about how Jake made it to the final table. I have leverage!
I was ready to make that same joke, believe it or not.
Fratto calls on the big
Michael Fratti calls with ace-5.
comes 3 of hearts.
The flop
King of clubs.
is
10 of
king
clubs.
high. Top 2 for Elke.
Yo, don't do me like that, dealer. You coming? You coming to the party later? I'm Michael Fratti.
Fratto
We're gonna play some beer pong.
115,000.
115,000.
Greek life.
Son Yasmin.
We raise.
I see Busty's making a comment about Eastgate. Let's not forget that Peter made the final table of EPT London early this season, had a second place finish. Peter actually put up a number of results after his World Series of Poker win.
Yeah. He retired on top, unlike the rest of you punks. What the heck is Fratty doing here?
Probably regretting leading the flop.
Oh, God.
What is the man animal going to do?
Doesn't help that his head's tilted.
Fratto pass. Elke takes the pot.
I
Okay.
do like raising a flop lead there,
Yeah.
even though he got no action. A lot of times folks are going to convince themselves they should stick around.
Which one did you get first? The 25K Bellagio.
Okay, will be on the big blind.
30-60 blinds, still at 9, playing down to the official final table of 8.
I tried to forget it. I tried to forget it.
Do you remember your
gone too. He's gone. Remember his money, everything.
Fold it around to Fratty, who's got 8-5 of diamonds. Oh, seriously, guys, the novelty's wearing off. Pocket aces here for Theodor Karaba.
I feel like the chips are going to fall. They're going to slide down the table.
Elke with ace, queen of clubs.
Oh, no.
Ah, this is a hand we need to talk about afterwards.
This is sick. This is really sick. Elke's going to get into a world of trouble here. He's going to think there's some dead money. Yeah.
Elke shoves after Karaba just flats with the aces. Action now on Eastgate and Bergeron in the blinds. Peter's folded. Craig's out.
Really
Back on the original razor. He'll no doubt throw 8-5 away.
8-5 is the nuts. I don't know if you remember that or not from earlier in this show.
Karaba calls and Elke gets the bad news.
Yeah, you're just never going to suspect Karaba's got a strong hand there when he doesn't re-raise.
Against Theodore, pocket aces. Ace of spades, ace of diamonds. And Elke is only with ace of clubs, queen of clubs. And let's see the flop.
Continuity? What continuity? Oh, hello clubs.
Eight of clubs,
Come on.
four of spades.
Elke, you've used your one time many, many times.
Not flush draw.
10 of hearts.
You need to catch
10.
a club. Two card, it's a nine of hearts. Not helpful.
Oh, my God. More outs now?
So Elke will need a club on the river to stay alive in this tournament.
Oh, 10. 10 is good too.
Don't miss the 10. Could be a case of too many outs. He bricks the river and he's out in ninth, cashing for 51,500 euros. And with Elke's elimination, they are down to the official final table of 8. He's not happy.
Can always count on Elke to make a very fast exit.
Oh,
Oh boy.
oh,
Oh, jeez.
oh.
Oh, no. That's awkward.
And we have got a
Knock the
final
TV
table
over.
headlined by Mike Mcdonald and Peter Eastgate, a former World Series of Poker main event champ and a former EPT champion, but it is Theodor Karaba from Romania who'll go into that final table with the chip lead. Jake Cody second on the leaderboard. And we need to talk about how Jake Cody got all of those chips, because sadly it was not covered by the TV cameras, partly because Jake was on one of the outer tables and partly because there wasn't a lot of outer table coverage. By not a lot, I mean none. There was a hand, and I'm sure many of you have heard the story before, where Jake got a little bit frisky with 10-4 and basically 5-bet jammed and ran into kings, and because he's Jake Cody, got there, made a straight, and eliminated the poor guy with kings, and then made it into the final table with a decent stack. But the real thing I wanted to talk about was that last hand, Joe. Now, bear in mind, back in 2010, I'm working on the EPT, doing the live streams, doing many of the TV shows, but I'm not really involved in the production. And even though I see stuff that I don't necessarily agree with or would question normally, I just do the job, right? I go in and I do the best job I can.
So you're like me.
Yeah, but I mean, I probably care a bit more than that, but you know, ultimately I don't really feel it's my place to criticize or question why things have been done a certain way until now. So Luca Pagano and I are doing the commentary for these shows. The original cut of that last hand was very, very different. As we've said, the French production team, and bless them for trying some new ideas, they had an alternative way of how that last hand should play out. So we get the raise from Fratty. Theodore Karaba just flats with aces, and then Elkie squeezes and looks down at ace-queen. We cut to Elkie's face. Back to the ace-queen. Cut, 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 cut. Fast cutting, cards to face, cards to face, cards to face. And then it does that really weird Wayne's World effect where it's like... And then we get kind of framed with kind of like soft focus edges, a hand from the PCA in 2008 where Elkie's at the final table playing a hand against David the Dragon Pham. And the voiceover that had been scripted, the last time we saw Elkie with ace-queen was at the final table of the PCA 2 years ago. He won that time. Will he win this time? Let's find out. And then we come out of back to the present, except we've rewound to the point where the guy raises with 8-5, Karaba flats with aces, action's back on Elkie. And at the point that happened, both Luca and I literally said, what is going on right now? What is this? And clearly persuaded the French production team that this did not work from a production point of view or from a poker point of view. You can't say the last time he had ace-queen, he won with it, so what's going to happen this time, when we can see he's run into aces.
He's probably not going to win this time. Yeah, I guess you could do it. The only way you can make that work is if it's a sweat with hand, right?
I mean, also, you talk a lot about how you don't like it when you're taken out of the moment, when someone reminds you that you're watching TV. And that's why I don't like the tilted angles. That's why I don't like the kind of fast-track zooms. I don't like anything that reminds me that I'm not in the moment. And that is a hell of a way to take you out of the moment. The French were overruled and were told to re-edit the show and just play the hand straight. And sorry, I know you'd love to see that clip, but hopefully it's been consigned to the ashes of history. I don't have it. But my description of how it went is pretty spot on, although it was arguably even worse than I portrayed it.
It sounds like, now I didn't watch a lot of this show, but it sounds like that was more of like a UK IPT vibe. They did like more kind of silly stuff with their coverage. Like,
No,
didn't
but
they?
Of course they did, but that was with humor. That was tongue-in-cheek.
Right.
There was nothing meant to be humorous about this. This was serious. This was meant to be dramatic. This was meant to be kind of like giving it a unique flair. It was just awful production. I'm
not going to lie. I don't hate it just hearing it. Now, probably would I have hated the execution? Yes. But like just hearing it, I kind of like it.
Which is why we still don't let you have any input into the production, Joe. So we're going to pick up the action at the start of the final table with the final 8 competing for a first prize of €857,000. Blind to 30-60 with a 5k ante. Average stack is just shy of 3 million, and it is Theodor Karaba from Romania, who is still chip leader with a stack of 7.1 million.
Claudio on the button.
I am confident it's not just a bad dream. Luca Pagano is my witness. I'm sure he remembers it as well.
So when you were recording that, were the French producers in the booth with you?
Yes. There was also
they came to London?
They did. There was a representative from Stars there who was very much taking our side.
Craig pass.
Did you flex your film degree at them?
160,000.
Didn't need to, dude. There is no way that anyone could justify it.
Claudio pass.
Oh no. Jake's little photo looks like he should be popping out of the basket on the front of the bike from ET.
Either that or he should be pursuing Donald Sutherland through the streets of Venice.
7 of clubs.
Yeah.
Check.
I like T-Bance's line. At this rate, it's unknown which is worse, poker angles or camera angles.
Good call. These guys were definite ankle shooters.
Call.
Jake calls.
Terrible flop for Jake, by
Yeah.
the way.
10% equity as this hand goes to the turn. Which, of course, is a 10.
Oh, Cake Jody.
Check.
Jake checks.
What was a terrible board for Jake Cody is now a terrible board for
Stefan
Albertini, who checks back.
Comes the river. 6 of hearts.
Does he think he's trapping? Or is he going to be able to get away from this with minimal damage? Now, Jake Cody didn't have a reputation yet at this point, I'm assuming.
Nobody knows who Jake Cody is at this point.
Right.
335. 335,000.
Jake bets
So this is not a very
335,000.
large bet relative to the size of the pot. Basically just a third of the pot. So if Albertini decided to call here with an overpair, I think it's pretty reasonable. And he folds.
Stefan folds. The pot goes to
I mean, it's a straighty board, I guess.
It's a straighty board. There's lots of 2 pairs. There's, I just think there's also 1 pair hands that are going to bet 2 that you're beating. But
So Cody second in chips behind Caraba. The low stacks of the table are Peter Eastgate and George Sakara. 2 Romanians at this final table, bookending the leaderboard.
Year of Romania.
I guess now we're down to the final 8, Joe, and we've got 2 episodes covering that final table. The pace should slow down.
Claudio pass.
We can breathe finally.
Jake pass.
Raise 130,000.
Michael Fratti opening with King 7 off, raises to 130,000.
Theodore pass.
Yeah, I kind of want to echo a comment that Turka made a while ago. Put the camera back on the tripod and leave it there.
How much you playing?
Craig, what are you doing?
1,000,005.
He's doing a Cody, getting frisky with 10-4.
We raise 305,000.
3 bets from the big blind, 305,000.
I hate the fact that this is going to work.
You sure about that?
You were saying? I guess, could they both lose?
Call.
Oh, just a call too. My goodness. My goodness.
2 players.
Millions of euros on the line. Hundreds of thousands at least.
I guess, Joe, if we feel that style should reflect content, the camera angles do go with the standard of play.
1, 2.5.
This is definitely
1.2.
the Dutch angle of hands.
Or Bergeron has paired his 10 and shoves the flop.
Oh my God. And he's right.
Craig announces all in.
All into call for Fratti, who's got king high. For a moment, I thought that was Jane Lynch.
Fold.
Raton pass.
Wow. What a hand.
Pot goes
How's that
down.
one not on all the highlight reels? Shows a 4. Seems unnecessary. Now, James, do you have any memory of calling this hand? Was it like impressed What a move. What power poker. I wasn't like, what's this guy doing?
I honestly don't remember. I had bigger concerns when we voiced these shows. Caraba still chip leader. Sakara still the short stack, but actually not that much separating him and Peter Eastgate right now.
Fold.
Theodore pass.
Fold.
Peter pass.
Again, to reiterate, Peter Eastgate's second final table of Season 6 of the EPT. Mike Mcdonald on course for a second title.
Raise.
Stefan announces a raise.
It's funny that Baby Dog asked the question, anyone else getting motion sickness? It does make me feel nauseous.
180,000.
It genuinely is uncomfortable to watch.
All in.
Mike announces all in. Cloudy on the button passes.
I call.
Given what the hands are, it's not super surprising McDonald shoved. But I liked Albertini's sort of move with his hands toward the middle. I don't think it was an angle shoot, but it wasn't the kind of body language you expect to see from somebody that has a super oh goodness.
Ace of spades.
Always
six of
an
spades,
ace
eight
on
of
the
clubs.
desk, and Mike McDonald is now an 87% favorite to double up through Albertini.
Here comes the turn. It's a seven of
No
clubs.
spade on the turn, so
Very
Albertini
still.
drawing to one of the two remaining kings.
Comes the river. It's the two of
And
diamonds.
McDonald's hand holds. He doubles up.
600, 700, 800, 900, 1 million.
Mike McDonald's going to feature heavily in our podcast this week. He's been an active fella during quarantine.
Mike pass, Claudio pass, Jake pass, Rato pass,
Action is on the chip leader, Theodore Caraba.
Theodor pass.
He folds. Pocket tens for Peter Eastgate. And he shoves.
Raise all in.
Just over 10 bigs.
King 9 for Bergeron in the small. And he reshoves.
And Craig from the small blind re-raise all in. So Peter's the all-in player, and still Stefan in the pot in the big blind, but Stefan passes.
And
So we have
Eastgate
all Peter
in
Eastgate.
great position to double up
He
here.
shows pocket tens. It's a 10 of clubs, 10 of hearts. And he's playing against King 9 from Craig. It's a King of clubs and 9 of spades.
Having a bad hand hasn't stopped Bergeron before.
And here's the flop.
Ah,
Boom.
King on the flop.
Queen, King.
Peter, no.
Diamonds, pair of kings for Craig. Now Peter needs to catch a 10 to stay alive. And here's the turn. It's a tray of spades. No help for Peter.
10 on the river required.
That can help him is one of the two remaining tens. And here's the river card. It's an 8 of hearts.
And we're going to lose our first player from the final table, Peter Eastgate, the 2008 World Series of Poker main event champion, out in 8th place, cashing for 70,000 euros. Bergeron now 3rd in chips behind Cody. Caraba still chip leader. And hey, George Sakara has managed to ladder up a spot. He's locked up. 92 grand now.
Well done. Year of Romania.
1.5 million. Theodore.
Just Scrabbler says, more like Peter Exit Gate. I will allow it.
Pocket tens for Caraba.
Just to continue, Theodore has around 6.8 million.
130 bet.
And he's now raising to 130,000.
Vito asks, are they doing new commentary right now? Nope, this is the original commentary from 2010.
Thank you for your question.
Craig calls. Stefan pass.
Bergeron flatting queens. This guy's wily. He's squirrely.
Small blind pass. Big blind pass. Two players.
And by that I mean he doesn't do anything
Theodore
correctly.
and Craig, and we see a flop. And here's the flop.
Again with the set of tens.
Eight of spades.
Cody got
Great luck.
lucky against Albertini on the turn. Caraba gets lucky against Bergeron on the flop.
If you can flat with queens and then not go broke, great.
How do you not stick more chips in here on that flop with queens?
I don't know.
Theodore bets. 250,000.
Do you? I mean, you know what? I'm sick of trying to predict this guy. Just gonna see what he does and talk about how bad it is.
And Craig calls.
Actually, you played it slow pre-flop. Continue playing it slow. I don't hate it.
Just calls the 250k, and now we get the king of clubs on the turn. And again, when Caraba fires a second barrel here, Joe, I can understand Bergeron calling again.
You can only call.
Yes.
Theodore bets 600,000.
You can fold, but you can't raise.
So Bergeron does call a second time, and this hand is going to the river.
And here's
And
the
how
river.
stoked are you if you're Caraba?
It's a deuce of spades.
What a clean run out.
How much you got behind?
3.3.
When Caraba fires a third time, you just have to fold. Like, is he really triple barreling with ace queen? Is he really triple barreling with missed diamonds that don't have a king?
1.4.
Theodore bets 1.4 million. And call.
1.4 million, pretty much snap called by Bergeron, who loses a huge pot, and the chip leader just got a whole lot leadier.
So Theodore wins the big pot.
Wasn't that hard. What? Wasn't that hard.
I mean, playing results, I don't see how the hand plays out much differently if you 3-bet the queens pre-flop. I think I just
And Theodore big blind
have a
on the
chip on
side.
my shoulder based on how he's played some other hands.
Well, let's see how he plays this hand. Ace 10.
I think there's a strong argument to fold queens on that river, though.
He's opening the pot with a raise to 125,000.
Opens to 125k.
Stefan pass.
Round to Mike Mcdonald.
Something tells you when a bigger ace shoves on him, he is not going to find the fold.
Queen 6 for Jake Cody.
Oh, Jake.
2.1.
I'll re-raise in position, Batman.
290,000.
Riddle me this.
Small blind pass.
290,000.
Comes back to Craig. He's in for 130. And pass.
What?
Jake's
What is... Oh, my God.
Down is up and up is down.
And that's just the camera angles. What the heck?
Claudio pass.
The guy gets super out of line with hands like 10-4 in King 7. Well, that wasn't him with the king 7, but what was it? 10-4 and 5-8. And ace 10, he's like, blah. Against the livest guy at the table other than him. I guess news of the 10-4 hand hadn't made its way.
It should have done. It got pretty well covered by Poker News, PokerStars blog, and everyone else reporting this event.
Oh, how can you ever fold ace 10 to that guy?
Great pass.
Have you seen how well he's been flopping?
Stefan pass.
As we know, Joe, it's about playing results. It's not about making good decisions.
60,000. And
Look, don't knock playing results. It's one of my favorite ways to play.
5,000.
Re-raise from Timex. Mcdonald makes it 405,000.
Jack 9 is a tough hand to fold.
Jake pass and Mike takes his pot. That's the end of this round. And we are on a 15-minute tournament breakout. Depends.
So the players taking a short break. And when they come back, blinds are up to 40,000, 80,000. Karaba with close to 9.5 million right now.
Pass.
Mike pass.
I want to know what they're laughing about.
That angle.
Hey, why is the... What's weird is that I can't... Like, was the angle done in post?
No.
How do you even hold the camera like that?
Theodore pass. Small blind pass. Stefan is in a big blind.
Very cool.
And he calls.
Sakara all in with sixes, called by Albertini with ace-jack. Classic race.
Pair of sixes. 2 red sixes for Claudio.
Like Sherlock versus Downton Abbey. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
All in. And we see the flop. Flop comes. Deuce of hearts, 4 of diamonds, queen of spades. Claudio's in the lead with his pair of sixes.
Looking good for a Sakara double up. The Romanians on the rail are loving it.
Cards. And turn card is a king of diamonds. So Claudio in the lead.
Doesn't even have to fade the
Doesn't
counterfeit
have
outs.
ace, a jack, or a 10.
Does have to fade the straight, though.
And here's the river card. It's an ace.
Sixes hold.
Doubles through.
Isn't Sakara the name of a planet from the Marvel comic universe?
You're going to need someone nerdier than me to answer that question for you.
Can't remember. Isn't it from Guardians of the Galaxy?
You've watched the movies more recently than me. You should be in a better position to answer that question.
You would think.
Mike pass. Claudio pass. Jake pass.
Pass.
Toe pass.
I don't know whether you've spotted, Joe, but there is so much crossing of the line in this coverage that it's impossible to work out where the players are sitting at the table.
I have a hard time with that in general.
300,000.
Break from the small blind. Raises to 300,000.
Thank you, Moyek.
Stefan is in the big blind.
More on Sakar.
Re-raise.
Oh, is that Jeff
We're on
Goldblum's
Sakara.
planet?
Showdown, please.
All in hand for Stefan is ace.
Albertini all in with ace-4 against Craig Bergeron's queen-3.
Break is queen tray of clubs. And here comes the flop. It's king, ace, 7 with 2 clubs. It's the king of hearts, ace of clubs, and the 7 of clubs. Stefan flops a pair of aces, where there are 2 clubs on the board, and Craig also has 2 clubs in his hand. Here's the turn. 6 of diamonds.
So Albertini
The last card
is going to need to fade a club on the river.
river card is a king of spades.
He does. Stays alive.
Bergeron can't have much left at this point.
All-in bet was 620,000. So it's 1,240,000.
It's been a while since we had a chip count that's on screen for 3 seconds.
1,260,000 now on the stack for Stefan. Stefan pass, Mike pass, Claudio pass.
Round to Cody, who's got kings.
It's now going to be the time we see somebody get out of line against Jake, thinking he never has it, when he does, in fact, have it.
Raises to 165,000. Michael Fratti has ace-queen. And he moves all in.
Theodore small blind pass and
The blinds are out. Cody calls.
Jake makes the call, so Frato is all in.
Fratti at risk and behind.
Ace queen, ace of hearts, queen of diamonds, and he plays against pocket king. 2 red kings for Jake.
Not a race, Sean. Just the one overcard for Fratti.
Nah, this is pretty much a race when you have kings. Against Jake Cody, though,
2 million for Frato.
my money's on the 72%.
What is that about?
And Jake has 2 red kings.
Oh my God.
Dude, I like it.
Comes queen 7 10. So pair of queens for Frato, which is not enough. He needs another
I
queen
like it.
or an ace to stay alive. Kings are in the lead for Jake. Here is the turn. It's a jack. Now he got a couple more outs. He needs an ace or a queen or a king.
An ace does not help him.
Doesn't help, excuse me. Let's see the river card. And it's a 9 of diamonds.
Not enough, and that will see Michael Fratti eliminated in 7th place, cashing for 92,000 euros. And we're down to the final 6 players. EPT Deauville from season 6 of the European Poker Tour, January 2010. And with 6 players remaining, we are going to get an update on the stacks, Joe.
Okay, thank goodness. Bergeron. He's who I'm interested in.
Bergeron's on around 1.9 million, so he's 4th on the leaderboard. Sakara is still the low man, and Caraba is still the big stack, 9.9 million near enough. Cody 2nd in chips. Mike Mcdonald sandwiched between Cody and Bergeron. Next player out will get 129k.
Theodore pass. Craig pass. Stefan on the button pass.
Show us a walk.
All in.
Mike small blind announces all in.
Shoving on the short stack.
Showdown.
Well, McDonald's got live cards, but Sakara is ahead.
So
Yeah,
Carlo
snap call for a
shows ace of
Sakara.
spades, Queen of spades. He's all in. We've got 10 of
Oh,
clubs,
come on.
7 of clubs for Mike. We're gonna see
This
the
is
top of the
intolerable.
players.
Thank you, Moyak. Yeah, Sakar from Ragnarok.
Queen of hearts.
As I said, Jeff Goldblum's planet.
Ace of diamonds. 2 pair for Claudio.
Sakar lives on the edge of the known and unknown. It is the collection point for all lost and unloved things, like you.
Full house for Sakara. Mike McDonald drawing dead on the turn, and Sakara gets another double up.
King of spades.
Where's the jack?
I genuinely don't remember these shows being that hard to watch.
Jake's on the button. Theodore small blind. Craig big blind. Stefan's first to speak.
Fold.
Stefan pass. Mike
Fold.
pass.
Fold.
Claudio pass.
Fold.
Jake pass.
Come on.
1-8.
All in.
Call.
Well, we are flipping again.
All in.
Call.
Craig showed.
Bergeron flipping with King Queen against Theodore Karaba's pocket sixes.
Pair of sixes.
Like the last Airbender versus grown-ups. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
Here comes the flop. King of spades, 9 of spades, 5 of clubs. Craig takes the lead with a pair of kings. We need a 6 for Theodore. Ace of diamonds. Still need a 6 for Theodore. The river comes, Jack of diamonds.
Jack for Bergeron on the river. Sees his pair of kings hold. And he's going to double up through the chip leader. Blinds 50, 100.
Here we go.
First 10,000 missing.
What a level.
Ace, king of diamonds for Mike Mcdonald.
Raise.
Mike raises 220,000, 220,000. Claudio pass.
Carl Parrish, I think it was all the rage to do these dramatic angles to make poker more exciting to the newbies back then. Nope, just French TV.
Are you sure it's not just that the camera's all accidentally tilted while people took cigarette breaks?
Jake re-raise.
Frighteningly, I think this is intentional. I think we're looking at genuine creative choices here.
490 000 re-raise for Jake. Theodore pass. Craig pass. Stefan pass.
So does Jake Cody know at this point that you don't hit a set of 10s every time?
Re-raise.
Mike re-raises 1,100,000.
How much you have back, mate?
How much do you have?
How much do you? About 3.
Mike McDonald grew up so fast.
I call.
Jake
All in.
announces all in.
I call.
Another huge flip.
Mike and Jake. Jake shows pair of
Timex, the at-risk player with the overcards.
Ace of diamonds, king of diamonds.
No, it's okay. No, no.
So you're like 4 to start the hand?
Yeah, a little, maybe 4.2 or something. Can you fold? Club?
Here comes the flop.
Like Tron Legacy versus Sex and the City 2.
King of spades, 2 of diamonds. Jake's still ahead. Sorry. Mike's ahead with a pair of kings. We need a 10 for Jake. Here comes the turn. Ace of spades, 2 pair for Mike.
Is 10 jack? Yeah. Why are you telling me this? This is scary. No, 10 jack, I fold.
D'Agostino.
Yeah.
10 or a jack could save Jake. It's the 6 of spades. 2 pair for Mike.
So he must have been looking insanely, like an insane favorite to
I guess I'll let you go.
2-time win this, huh?
Absolutely.
Door on the button. Craig small blind. Stefan big blind.
We had the 2-time dream for Mike McDonald in Dortmund, making the final table of that event in back-to-back years.
Claudio pass.
He might have been the first best player on the EPT, huh?
Jake announces all in.
Jake's all in for fewer than 10 big blinds.
Craig pass. Stefan calls. Jake shows pair of aces against king of clubs, 9 of clubs.
I don't know if this is a call
King of clubs, 9 of clubs. Jake, pair of
from the
aces.
big blind.
Against aces, it's definitely not.
Here comes the flop. 3 of spades, 5 of spades, 7 of spades. No help for Stefan at the moment.
6 of spades on his hand.
Here comes the
Yeah,
turn.
spade, chop it up.
It's the 6 of diamonds.
Un 4.
4 or an 8. Stefan needs an 8. Here comes the river. 6 of hearts.
Aces hold, and Stefan Albertini is out in 6th place, cashing for 129,000 euros. And we're down to the final 5.
129.
His next shot's in a glass. Albertini, out Bertini.
Mike Mcdonald has taken the chip lead now after that big ace-king tens double up through Jake Cody. Theodore Caraba now second on the leaderboard, followed by Bergeron, Cody, and Claudio Sakara, who is still the shortest stack at this final table. And I have to say, seems to be the only player with any basic consideration of ICM. Has done a pretty good job laddering up, although to be fair, he has actually got it in and doubled up the times that he's moved all in and been racing. I promise I will shut up about the production standards in a moment. I think what makes it so much worse is we just got done covering PCA 2010, and we highlighted the fact, Joe, that we were working with the team from 441 Productions, the Americans who did the World Series shows back then, and you couldn't have a clearer contrast of how to film poker and how not to film poker. And they know how to get drama, and of course it's in close-ups, it's pushing tight in on players, it's understanding how to build the drama and the tension, but it's not about shaking the camera around, it's not about shoving it up people's nostrils, it's not about canted angles, and it's not certainly about cutting every 2 seconds.
Monkey Mail says, please continue with the production comments, and James, I will allow it.
I will try not to, unless something happens that tilts me so much.
Difficult not to.
That
Maybe
tilts me
that's
so
actually
much
where
that-
the phrase "I'm tilted" came from.
From
How
French
annoying it
TV.
is to have to watch poker at a tilted angle.
For sure. So let's just reset the key stats. This is the first event we're covering on today's EPT Retro stream. We are in January of 2010, and we are in Deauville. This event attracted 768 players. We're now down to the final 5. They played half the final table. We're now going to see this out to its conclusion. Total prize pool in this event of 3.68 million euros. First prize of more than 850k. And as we rejoin the action, blinds are 5,100. Average stack is 4.6 million. And Mike Mcdonald, going for his second EPT title, has the chip lead with a stack of 9.2 million.
Craig, big blind. Mike raises 220,000.
2.2x raise for Mike McDonald, and good news for him, someone's shoving.
Theodore pass and Craig pass. Mike calls, showing a pair of
Domination
King of
Nation
Hearts,
and
King of
Sakara
Diamonds,
might not survive this one.
Jack of hearts and Jack of clubs. We've got 2 players, Mike with a pair of kings, Claudio with a pair of jacks.
I said I'm pretty due to lose one of these. I've been winning them all.
Here comes the flop.
You're supposed to win them all.
2 of diamonds, 9 of clubs, 4 of diamonds. Pair of kings for Mike still ahead. Comes the turn. 9 of hearts. Still no change, pair of kings ahead. Here comes the river. Looking for a jack for Claudio.
No jack for Sakara. He's out in 5th place. Cashes for 165,000 euros. And Mike McDonald will increase his chip lead at this 4-handed final table.
Our 5th place winner in
Time for Sakar to make his exit through the devil's anus.
And blinds are up to 60,000, 120,000.
On this first hand, Mike starts on the big blind.
Jake, the pocket tens.
Raise 260.
Theodore pass.
260.
Now Jack raises up to 260,000.
Thank you, Baby Dog, for pointing out that it is 3 minutes past 5 at this moment.
All in.
And Craig on the small blind, re-raise all in.
Another flip.
Yeah.
Pass.
Cody calls, and Bergeron is the at-risk player who's going to need to connect.
Like the KFC double down sandwich versus pretzel M&Ms. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
Pair of tens, it's a 10 of hearts and 10 of spades. Let's see the flop. Flop comes. Deuce of diamonds.
The flop is wheelie.
5 of hearts.
Bergeron now has threes working for him in addition to aces and kings.
Pocket tens. And now Craig has a...
Keep it low, but not too low.
He needs to catch an ace, a king, or a trade. Let's see the turn card. It's an ace.
Ace on the turn.
Player Craig is in front with pair of aces. He doesn't want to see a 10, and now one trade will split the pot. Let's see the river card. It's a 4 of hearts. So
And that will see Bergeron double up through Jake Cody.
1.4.
1.4.
That's 1.4 right here.
Yeah, let's edit that out. That looked like that was going to take a while.
Craig pass.
$230. 230. 30. Oh, yeah. 270. All in.
Check on the small blind.
Wow.
All in. Theodore pass. And Mike calls.
Jake shoving 20 bigs with ace-7.
Jack is all in with ace of clubs, 7 of diamonds against Mike, Jack of hearts, Jack of clubs. The flop comes. 4 of clubs, ace of hearts.
I like how this dealer's flop is so slow that we had to cut to it on the second card.
Pair of aces.
Poor Mike McDonald.
Winning.
It's a trade.
He can still hit Jack on the river.
Jack still on the lead with a pair of aces, but he doesn't want to see a jack on the river. Let's see the river card.
The river card is a king, though, and Jake Cody survives.
Please.
Send Jake.
Okay.
Mike McDonald gets stacked. Unlucky, Mike.
Well, so let's see what happens over the passing of time. Theodore Caraba retakes the chip lead. Mike McDonald second on the leaderboard. Jake Cody still the low man at the table with close to 3.5 million.
I'm loving the countries represented, right? One player from each of 4 different nations. You got Romania, Canada, the UK, and the USA.
Bergeron's up to his old tricks. 9-6 of spades, and he limps the button.
Mike on the small blind. pass.
Learned nothing. Man, James, if you're going to play this hand, you got to raise it.
And Jake checks on the big blind.
I don't understand the point of limping this hand at all.
And the flop comes 4 of diamonds.
And this is
king
a
of hearts,
very
9 of diamonds.
awful flop for Bergeron. He is likely to think
Jake checks.
this is the nuts as he pairs his 9, 2 pair for Cody.
112, 120, sorry.
Greg bets 120,000.
I think you can justifiably call or raise here. And if you got a wild image like Jake Cody, I don't mind a raise.
You raise. Feet.
Jake raises up to 330.
Does in fact raise, makes it 330,000.
Bergeron, be careful.
B. Bergeron.
Raise.
Oh, wow, he's re-raising.
Greg gonna
This is a very bizarre
60,000.
hand to turn into a bluff.
Is that what you think is happening now, or do you think he is of the opinion that his pair of 9s is the best hand?
Well, it's very hard to get value from a raise like this. So if you think it's the best hand, I'm not sure why you would raise.
And here comes
Sick, though.
a 4-bet from Jake Cody, re-raising to 990,000. All in and a call. What on earth is happening here?
Jake shows.
Jake Cody in so much better shape than he could possibly hope. You're like, I'm probably up against a king.
This was an unraised pot, Joe. It was limped on the button, checked in the big blind. And they're both blasting off like it's aces versus kings.
It's a 10.
Well, I mean,
I
there
mean,
are...
Jake Cody's justifiably
A 6.
blasting off because he's got aces beat.
A 10 or a king will split the
Sure.
and a 6 will
Bergeron, not sure what his excuse
Let's see
is.
the river card.
Well, the river doesn't help him. Jake Cody's going to get the double up.
For Greg, we're gonna make the chip count.
And 80. 3,380,000.
What a ridiculous hand.
If you raise 9-6, by the way, Jake Cody probably just
So
folds
Jake is on the big
9-4.
blind.
Of course, it is
Possibly.
Jake Cody, so nothing's guaranteed, but
It might all have gone in pre.
it could have.
Okay, well, that was a big dent to Bergeron's stack, right? That will see Cody move up the leaderboard, and that's going to put Bergeron not at risk, but certainly on the low end. As we see Mike Mcdonald with King-Jack in the small blind.
And if Bergeron's super short, McDonald should be just shoving here. Oh, no, sorry. I didn't realize Jake was next to him. Thanks a lot, French production company.
I told you you'd have no idea who's sitting where.
And Jake calls.
Cody defends with 7-6, and these two are going to the flop.
Let's see the flop. Flop comes king of hearts. 6 of
King,
clubs,
6,
king of
king. So trips for McDonald. Cody has paired his 6.
Mike is first
Jake
one.
Cody with a pair and drawing dead.
The bet is 300,000.
Man, it's pretty tough to fold a 6 in this spot.
And Jake calls 300,000.
Cody calls 300k. This hand going to the turn.
It's the queen of clubs.
Queen of clubs. McDonald now with a flush draw to go with his trip kings.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't love the third club on the turn, but with a big club himself, lots of ways to boat up. He is not slowing down.
Now Mike bets 700,000.
I think Jake could find a fold here. Very difficult to improve. Wow.
And Jake calls 700,000.
It's not fold. Seen him call 2 straights drawing dead.
River card is a 9 of spades.
Mike Mcdonald just knows exactly where he's at. Going for 3 full streets of value.
Yep. Raise pre, continued flop, barrel turn, and is firing on the river into a pot of 2.6 million. He bets 1.5 million.
Mike bets 1,500,000.
This will be quite the call.
Surely at this point, Cody can get away from it. It's a straighty flushy paired board. He wisely lays down 7-6, but Timex has chipped up significantly. Still four-handed at this final table from January 2010, the Deauville leg of Season 6 of the European Poker Tour. Action's been folded to Craig Bergeron, who's got Jack-10 offsuit. We think he's the shortest stack right now. He's on the button. And he's raising to $1 million.
Craig raises up to 1 million. Mike on the small blind pass. How much that's all?
So 1.5? Yeah. I'm on.
Cody shoves from the big blind with ace-7 of diamonds. Bergeron calls.
Jack of hearts against Jake, ace-7.
So it was a virtual all-in from Bergeron. He left himself 585k behind. The rest goes in. And he has got live cards. 42% is 42%.
Yeah, not super bad shape for him.
Now that is bad shape.
8 of diamonds, ace of hearts.
Cody a 9-1 favorite.
Jake has pair of aces.
He's going to need to see a 7,
No luck
a
for
9,
Craig.
a heart.
9 hard.
He's going to need something on the turn.
See the turn card? It's an
No.
Wow.
So 3 of
Drawing
aces.
dead
It's
once
over
the ace of
again.
spades hits, and Craig Bergeron is eliminated in 4th place, cashing for 221,000 euros.
221,000 euros.
Leaving us with the final 3 players, and they are all pretty even in chips. Cody 7.4 million, Caraba 7.6 million, Mike McDonald chip leader with 7.7 million. Next player out will get 295k. There's 857k up top.
Jake pass.
You think Craig Bergeron's out getting the cheesy pasta bowl right now?
Oh, I love that cheesy pasta bowl.
You guys, there was a restaurant in Deauville where they had a gigantic wheel of cheese, and they would scrape cheese out of it in the shape of a bowl and mix it with pasta, and it was the best thing that anyone's ever... It was probably the best overall dish in the entire tour.
Well, this looks like a blind versus blind pre-flop raising war. As Caraba opens small to big with ace-jack, and McDonald responds by re-raising with king-10.
They would put your pasta into the big hole in the wheel of cheese and mix it in that way.
cheesy pasta place.
What is that now? A flare? A light?
How much? 6.5 or 6.8 start hand, maybe around 7.
You know, you can see the re-raise here with King 10. You think Caraba's going to have to fold all of, like, the bad hands he feels like he has to raise with, that he can't just limp in or that he doesn't want to fold. His, like, 9-4s and his 10-5s and his Jack-6s.
All in.
And Theodore announces
Caraba shoves.
all in.
I feel like you can fold King 10 once this happens.
Mike pass and Theodore wins.
Caraba is a pretty solid player, right? So you don't expect him to be getting super out of line there.
Caraba retakes the chip lead, and over the next few hands, Jake Cody manages to narrow the gap, but Mike Mcdonald is very much in third place right now. I mean, what was that? Seriously.
Mike on the button raised 420,000.
I can't even tell what's a not tilted angle anymore. Like, even the straight angles are still kind of tilted, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't think they were using the spirit level on the tripods.
Jake announces all in.
McDonald opens on the button. Cody shoves from the small blind.
Big blind pass.
Pass.
Mike pass. Pot goes to Jake.
And Mike folds.
Around 600,000 in that pot.
A good point here from Relberg. Says, I guess they never had any larger chip values. Law, where are the plaques at?
That's true, actually. They do have higher denomination chips at the casino in Deauville. They're plaques rather than round chips, and I guess they didn't bring them out this year. Certainly in later years, certainly the events we covered in 2013, 2014, Joe, they definitely had the plaques, and the viewers loved them.
You know, I was thinking about Deauville the other day. Deauville was the first event that we went to after I moved to London.
Yes.
And I came back. I had moved into my apartment, and the very next morning, we had to leave for Deauville. Do you remember when I got back, I needed to buy towels because I didn't have any?
I remember dropping you outside Argos in Wandsworth.
And the absolute worst part was that when I got home, I realized that I left my apartment unlocked for the entire time we were in Deauville.
That was a long trip as well.
Raise 1,180,000.
So Caraba's opened with ace-10, and Mike is going to 3-bet with jacks.
So lucky I didn't get robbed.
Come on.
Caraba shoves. McDonald calls all in.
I feel like that's the first misstep we've seen from Caraba.
Diamonds for Theodore.
Mike
Given
McDonald
this
going for the
dynamic.
two-time. I think those guys are supporting the Romanian player.
Here comes the flop. Comes
There is an ace on the flop.
6 of hearts. King of diamonds. Ace of hearts. 6 of hearts. King of diamonds. Here comes the turn.
Always an ace on the desk. Heart's not a factor. Mike McDonald is going to need a jack on the river to survive.
Aces.
The jack would be pretty nice.
You're not going to see the river. It's a 10.
No jack. And Mike Mcdonald is denied the double. No second title for Timex. Out in third place, cashing for 295,000 euros. And the Romanian player, Teodor Caraba, is going heads up against Jake Cody for the EPT Deauville title.
Man, that's so disappointing. Mike Mcdonald with another near miss for the two-time. Relatively bad beat as well.
There is the winner's trophy. A difference in prize money of more than 300,000 euros. And it's a sweat with Joe. We're playing this hand from the Romanian's perspective. We are sweating with Teodor Caraba. We know that Cody is raised. We do not know what he's raising with. We know that we have King 10 of Hearts.
Sweat with in the year of Romania. I love King 10 of Hearts. Sweet like candy.
Theodore calls. And the flop is 10 of clubs.
Like it. First street, second street, third street I'm not liking so much.
Second pair, very strong kicker. Caraba playing in flow, checks to Cody.
Yeah, we're like in check call mode already. We know Jake Cody's aggressive. Can't go folding right away. 1.1 out there. We're really hoping Jake bets less than half pot.
Jake bets 580,000.
Pretty dang close to half pot. Sizing is a little scary. I do tend to think the bigger Jake goes here, the less he's likely to have it. But I think we have to call at least once. We know Jake's not the kind of player we're likely to get free cards with. Like a lot of times you can call someone here with a pair of tens and then they check the turn.
So Caraba called the 580k. We get the 6 of spades on the turn. Checks a second time. Sorry.
It's the duality of man, James.
And Jake bets 1,320,000.
Second barrel, Joe, 1.32 million.
I know it's Jake Cody, but I like a fold here. I think there's better spots. I mean, he's got so many chips. I guess he can call one more street, but then what do you do if you face a big barrel on the river?
And Theodore makes the
Yeah,
call,
it's
1,320,000.
probably fine. I don't know why I'm feeling like such a wuss right now. I just got a bad feeling about this.
By the way, Baby Dog, Old Buster, you're 100% correct. You've got red and whites and red and blacks, and they're all worth the same. I know it's confusing. So 9 of hearts on the river. Caraba checks a third time. Please check it back.
I mean, what hands can Jake go 3 full streets with? Here's the problem. Some of the hands Jake was bluffing with improved on this river.
2,440.
Jake bets 2,440,000 and Theodore passes.
Caraba just insta-mucks it. Oh, God. One more call is all it would have taken. Whips the open ender.
Jake Cody. Among the players on Jake Cody's rail is his friend Matt Perrins. Blinds now 150, 300.
And that's why I like folding on the turn. Like, of course, you're wrong, but you lose fewer chips than if you call turn and fold river.
He showed it, by the way. He showed the bluff.
Great, now Caraba genuinely dominated.
And the flop is deuce of diamonds, 7 of spades, 8 of spades. Theodore check. And Jake checks. Turn card, check of hearts.
King 10, still the best hand.
Well, 9-ball would be fun for Caraba.
He's going to try and win it with a bet on the turn of 700,000.
700,000.
There comes a little icing for the cake, Jody. Big raise coming.
2 million.
Oh, wow.
Theodore pass.
2 million, a fold, and again.
Shows it again.
Jake wins the hand and he shows King 10, which is
Oh
king.
my goodness. Jake just must feel invincible right now.
I mean,
Technically have the best hand, but
Caraba's still got the chip lead, though. 12.8 million playing 9.9 million. I mean, Jake would say in later years that the live stream of this final table and the TV show, or the highlights from this final table, were the greatest advert for him, because he never played like this ever again. He actually adopted quite a solid, tight style, mixed in with a few bluffs, mixed in with a few moves, but tightened up his game incredibly and capitalized on the fact that people thought he was always at it.
$2.1. 2,100,000.
and him just showing absolute air balls would, he's got all kinds of aggression, I think. Can get him paid even in this tournament, let alone after it airs on television. Yeah, oh goodness.
Caraba all in with 6-5. Jake Cody calls with 8.
So Jake is the all-in player. He shows the
I mean, this is really, really well done by Jake Cody. Just kind of batted him around for a while and got him to have a minor meltdown and freak out and get it in bad. Like, this is really, really well done.
You're not chanting now, are you guys?
Jake holding the 8 of clubs, too, is pretty bad for Caraba.
Here's the flop. 4 of clubs,
Oh.
9 of spades, deuce of hearts.
Okay, so picks up a gut shot straight draw on the flop.
A 3 would make a straight for Theodore.
And a straight would see Theodore Caraba win the tournament.
Club.
I will allow you to call for a club.
The turn card is a club. Straight and flush draws now for Theodore Caraba. And if he hits on the river, this event is over and we have a winner. The first Romanian champion on the EPT. But the 7 of spades is a blank. Jake Cody gets a huge double up. Close to 20 million now. The big chip advantage as this heads-up battle continues.
You ain't kidding, James. Look at all those chips. That is an ocean of chips.
Caraba now all in with Queen 6. And Cody calls with Ace 4.
Caraba just running into big hands here at the end.
Queen of hearts, 6 of diamonds. So Queen 6 is the all-in hands for Theodore. Queen of hearts, 6 of diamonds. And Ace 4, Ace of clubs, 4 of hearts for Jake. And here comes the flop.
It is a 6 on the flop, which sees Caraba take the lead and become a 4-1 favorite to double up through Cody.
6s for Theodore. Theodore is leading. And here's Here's the turn.
Turn card is a 4.
Oh.
Pair of 6 is for Theodore. Theodore's the only player.
Oh, 4-4 would be so brutal.
Does not want to see 4 or an ace. It's a jack.
Jack on the river means Carrabba gets the double up and we play on.
Kind of happy to see Carrabba get one back there. Hand 243 of the final table. You got to be kidding
This
me.
was a very long final table, Joe. This one went well past midnight.
This is insane.
Ace King for Carrabba.
800,000 from Theodore.
Kings for Jake Cody.
Kings for cake.
Raises 1,760,000 from Jake.
Looks like the crowd knows. They know this is a big moment.
Carrabba shove, snap called by Cody.
Pocket King.
And
Not a good
Carrabba
sign.
is going to need an ace.
King. It's the hand for Theodore.
Jake Cody on the verge of victory.
Theodore is the only player with Ace King. Ace of diamonds, King of hearts, and the pair of kings for Jake. Here comes the flop. It's 10, 7.
No ace on the flop.
Turn card is a 4.
No ace on the turn.
And if the last card is not an ace, we will.
One last chance for Theodore Carrabba to hit.
Let's see the river card.
The river
And here it comes.
is a queen, and the Romanian has to make do with a second place finish as Jake Cody takes down the Deauville leg of season 6 of the EPT. Carrabba gets 516k for second. Cody will lift the trophy and receive the first prize of 857,000 euros.
And instantly catapults himself into being a poker name henceforward.
Yes, very shortly after that, Jake Cody would win a WPT event in London. Shortly after that, won his first World Series of Poker bracelet, became a Triple Crown winner. After that, became a member of Team PokerStars Pro. A legend was born, and of course, we followed Jake's career with interest ever since. First time I met him was on that trip. Met him and Matt Perrins in the bar afterwards, and really nice guy. And of course, we talked about many of the hands that he played during that event and many of the moves that he made during that event. So Deauville is a wrap. Jake Cody's now an EPT champion. Where do we go next? We go to Berlin for the first time. So there has been a German EPT since season 3 when the tour went to Dortmund. Then, of course, we went back to Dortmund in seasons 4 and 5. In season 6, we moved to the German capital. We moved to Berlin. And when this event was announced, Joe, this was huge. Because, of course, going to Berlin is a very different proposition to going to Dortmund. And this was advertised as a huge event with a guaranteed first prize of 1 million euros. So every expectation that there was going to be a field of 1,000 players in this. And originally, it was advertised that they were going to build a huge glass dome, like a glass structure, a glass palace outside the Spielbank Berlin on Potsdamer Platz, which would host this EPT. Because I don't know if you've ever actually been inside the Spielbank. It's not that big a casino, and it's not really big enough to host a multi-table event like an EPT. So that was the original plan. The announcement was made, and then they didn't get planning permission. So plan B was to build a tunnel between the Spielbank Berlin and the Grand Hyatt Hotel next door, which would be the host of this event, and there was a convention hall, which would be the tournament room. Now, there is only final table coverage of EPT Berlin from 2010. That's not to say that the cameras weren't rolling on the penultimate day. That's not to say that there wasn't a live stream from that day, but something happened on the penultimate day in EPT Berlin, and I'm sure many of you know that there was a robbery at that EPT. And that resulted in many of the events that day being cancelled. It also meant that the live stream did not continue. It meant that no TV shows were then made from that day, which is why we skip to the final day of the coverage. So one of the unfortunate things that happened with the event being hosted at the Grand Hyatt is that money was actually being collected not at the Spielbank but in the hotel in a less than secure environment. And some opportunists got wind of this. I believe one of them had even played one of the events earlier that week. And when the High Roller event started that day, they decided to stage a robbery in the lobby of the hotel to try and steal that money. And I believe the footage is probably still on YouTube somewhere. If you were watching the live stream that day 10 years ago, you may remember that what you see is a human tsunami. It's a wave of people basically running out of the room, which causes the set to collapse. It causes poker tables to be flipped over. And what had happened is, even though the robbery was outside of the main tournament room, someone had mentioned that there's a guy with a gun. Understandably, it caused panic, and that then caused the reaction of all the people running out of the room. Now, as far as live stream commentators were concerned, we were actually on a balcony. And Joe, this was the same place where we worked in 2012, so I'm sure you remember it. It's a balcony that actually overlooks the main lobby of the hotel. So on our screens, we see the panic inside the poker room. And then when we lean over the balcony, we see a guy with a machete and a guy with a gun. And we don't know what's happening. We don't know whether this is a robbery or something else. What I do know is there are armed people in the building, and quite frankly, my professionalism is overtaken by my survival instinct, and I'm like, mic down, we're getting out of here. Alex Kravchenko, who I'm sure many of you remember from the World Series of Poker final table a few years back, he was a sponsored pro for a while. He was doing Russian commentary, and he stood up and just went to all of the language commentators, because all the different languages are on site, plus the production team, follow me. And in a crisis, I'm down with following Alex Kravchenko. He's a guy who looks like he's been in some situations where he knows how to get himself out of trouble. So we literally just,
if you want to live,
follow Kravchenko down the fire exit and out the building. Now, the good news about this is that no one was seriously injured in this incident. There was understandably some minor injuries when people were running across the room and knocking over tables.
No one was directly injured by the robbers, though, right?
No, and we were able to restart many of the events. Events where tables had been flipped over and they couldn't reset the stacks had to be cancelled and players refunded. The main event was able to restart very soon afterwards. We took the decision not to continue with the live stream or the coverage that day and just come back and do the final table, which I think was the right decision. And the kind of coda to this story, the final chapter, which still amuses me to this day, and I emphasize these guys were opportunists and not professionals. Okay, they were wearing masks when they came in to try and steal the money, most of which they dropped, by the way, on the way out. They didn't steal that much. But before they came in, before they staged this robbery, they went to the Mcdonald's across the road for breakfast. And they weren't wearing their masks in McDonald's, which has numerous CCTV cameras. So there was imagery of them, and the police caught them very soon afterwards.
Look, James, McDonald's can be very alluring. I don't know that I would have been able to avoid a hash brown before a big robbery. You don't want to do that on an empty stomach.
So that was on the penultimate day. Let's skip to the final day. and the final table. Big event in Berlin, close to 1,000 runners, 945 total entries, prize pool of close to 5 million euros, and that guaranteed first prize of 1 million euros up top.
James, was it weird the next day? Was there residual just sort of fear, I guess?
I think by that point, we were kind of reset and ready for business. So we're going to meet the players who've made this final table. Marcel Koller from Switzerland is the first player into this pot.
I'm not going to lie. Some of those day fives can really drag on, James. There's been a few times I wish there would be a robbery to stop the coverage from going too late.
Raises to 135,000 with pocket tens.
Oh, okie dokie.
And
here we go.
We have an all-in from Nico Belling with ace queen. And Koller is going to call, and already we're flipping that coin.
I'm getting kind of sick of these, James, but like an idiot abroad versus the trip. One of these two things from 2010 has a slight mathematical advantage.
Tens are holding after the flop.
Is in the lead with his pair of tens. Nico needs to improve his hand. He needs to catch an ace, a queen, or two running spades to win the hand. Let's see what's happening. Is it fourth hard?
No sweat card on the turn.
Now he needs to catch an ace or a queen.
Belling still in need of an ace or a queen. The river is an 8, and we lose our first player. Nico Belling out in 8th for 72,000 euros.
Belling, now past tense, Belled. I love how the flip there, we have one person say an idiot abroad has the massive advantage, and then another person says the trip wins that easily. That's why it's a race, MFers. Thank you for your comments.
Okay, we are going to sweat with a player who we've never seen before. So Ketil Natwani is the player who we're going to sweat with. We'll only see his whole cards and play the hand from his perspective. Facing a bet, presumably, from Marcel Koller in the small blind.
James, put the kettle on.
Raised to 140,000. And Ketil's hand is ace-jack.
I'm fine with a re-raise here, blind on blind. I'm also fine with a call here. I don't know how popular it is amongst pros. I don't like pushing your chips in like that. That's very eager.
What's not to like, Joe? Ace, 9, 3, top pair, solid kicker. Koller going for a continuation bet.
And so now that we've just called pre-flop, I like a just call again. Of course, anything we do on this board is going to look pretty strong. But if you raise, you're going to get most of the hands you're beating to fold. Occasionally, you'll get action from another ace that you're beating. Occasionally, you'll be up against an ace that's beating you. Now that it's been checked to us, I think we should bet.
And Marcel pass. Ketil takes the pot.
Fine. It happens.
A bet and a fold. Koller with king 7 there.
Pretty lackluster sweat with hand, but I like it. That's not predictable.
So blind still 30-60. And we saw that it is Kevin Mcphee from the USA who's the current chip leader with 7 players remaining. Action's been folded to Ketil Natwani, who's got 7-5 of spades.
Dang Fat Mama says, hi, Joe. Hi, James. Hello, Dang Fat Mama.
Small blind call.
Completes King Jack for Uri Takokalio in the big blind.
Yeah, limp here with 7-5 suited seems reasonable. You can even call a raise if you want.
Hillary raise 150.
Raise to 175,000.
You can also fold. You can limp fold this. Out of position. I like a suited 1 gapper, but this raise is almost a 3x re-raise.
Not count. 7 of clubs, 10 of hearts, queen of clubs.
Oof.
Check.
So Nathwani out flops. Taco Kaleo. Well, Taco Kaleo, as you can see.
Taco Calio.
Taco Kaleo
Hillary bets 220,000.
has lots of ways to win this hand. And Nathwani folds the pair. Huh. Yeah, I don't think you can call a re-raise and fold a pair. Just gonna go out on a limb and say that. Sorry if it's unpopular.
So Mcphee, the chip leader. Kettle Nathwani second in chips right now. The shortest stack is Marco Newman with 2 million. Next player out, by the way, will get 120 grand. A reminder, there's $1 million up top. And we see that Kevin Mcphee is opened with ace deuce.
And is run into Queen suited on the button. It's Callis says re-raise with 7-5 would have been dope. Yeah, I always forget about that. I think that would have been fine too. I'm such a passive player, I kind of forget that re-raising is an option there.
When we get to the next break, by the way, Joe, remind me to tell you a story concerning Hillary Taco Calio, which directly relates to the story of the robbery.
Okay.
So Hillary's called on the button. Mark Inazan's called as well from the big blind. We have an ace, king, king flop. Top pair for Mcphee. Trips for Taco Calio. Inazan with a gut shot straight draw. Backdoor diamonds working for him as well.
Yeah, that gut shot drawing dead though, since the queen would make a full house for Taco Calio.
Kevin bet 235,000.
Mcphee continuing for 235,000. No, baby dog, I'm with you. I remember having extreme envy about that zip up 10 years ago.
Okay, Mark announces the race.
Mark Inazan has announced raise. Getting a little bit squeezy here. 635,000. We can see that he's actually drawing dead. Good fold from Mcphee.
Back to Hillary.
And Taco Calio moves all in for 4.17 million. Inazan lets it go.
Hillary takes the pot.
King Jack for Hillary.
Taco Kukio.
Raises to 140,000. Folded to Mcphee in the small blind. Kevin's got ace-jack, has a dominating hand.
Uh-oh.
He calls. Artur Vasek is the player in the big blind.
He is most certainly in the big blind.
5 deuce of diamonds. He calls as well. We go 3-way to the flop.
Even his photo is bigger than everyone else.
10, 8, 5. 5 deuce flops best. Mcphee has the spade draw. And now Mcphee with top pair, top kicker. This is a bad card for Taco Kallio.
It certainly is.
Kevin bets 315,000. After pass.
Like the insta lead. Got that spade draw as a backup. Typically, I think when you get called here, you don't necessarily want to see a spade on the river, though.
River card, ace of diamonds.
But an ace is very welcome.
Kevin check. Hillary check. Showdown.
Mcphee tries to trap, but it gets checked back.
2 pairs, aces and jacks. Hillary pass, and Kevin wins the hand.
The bluff card.
Yeah, I think that check even though Taco Kallio doesn't bite, right, you assume that a lot of the time you're going to get called by the ace of spades there. So I think checking is a pretty good move. It's Callis agrees with me. Fine check from Mcphee.
Nathwani opening with 8s. He's got the snowmens. Num num.
Marco pass, Mark pass.
Oh, Kevin. Although I will say, no offense to Nathwani, what we've seen so far is that he can be taken off hands. Kevin doesn't go for it.
Well, hopefully he does get taken off this hand as Vasek re-raises with aces.
Vasek with the insta raise.
Yes. It looked very strong.
You're playing like 3 million?
Yeah, so 3 million.
It's hard to see around his body.
Nathwani calls.
Okay, two makes the call. Okay. We see the flop. And the flop comes.
The flop is King, Jack, 10.
That is a horrific flop for pocket eights.
Auto bet.
Auto bet, 500,000, quick fold, next hand.
Not a great flop for aces either, but luckily Nathwani had none of that.
Made a bet of 500,000. Keto folds immediately. Auto shows ace. This on Hillary. Pass.
Ten, 4 of clubs. This is Marco Newman.
Oh, Marco.
Raises to 140,000.
James, Marco Newman is now married to a very, very good friend of mine.
Is this a hashtag fun fact or a hashtag fake fact?
It's a hashtag fun fact.
Re-raise from Collar, who's got ace-king in the small blind.
Married and has, I think, 2 kids with a very close friend of mine.
We raised 335,000. Big blind pass. Comes back to Marco. Marco pass and Marcel takes the pot.
Wow, a lot of Marcel Collar fans on the rail. Oh, John. When will they collar up his chips?
Mark pass.
Pocket aces for Kevin Mcphee.
Hell yeah.
Kevin raised to 140,000 after pass. Marcel pass.
Man, aces are such a fun hand to pick up that I even like seeing other people get them.
Okay, tool call 140. Small blind pass.
So Nathwani's called on the button with King 10 of clubs. And Marco's going to come along for the ride with King 7 of spades.
Yeah, he's getting 5 to 1 with a suited king. Seems reasonable. And Kevin Mcphee in a pretty good spot here with 2 hands without much equity and flops top set. Maybe a bit of overkill.
Yeah, because no one's really caught anything.
Kevin bet 235,000.
Continues for 235k. How does he get action here?
Get tool call.
Oh, Kettle.
Marco pass.
Very optimistic call here from Kettle.
Heads up to the turn, which is the 10 of diamonds when he's now turned second pair, Joe.
Second pair turned dead.
Yes. And Mcphee with top set barrels. 485,000.
485,000.
I mean, we've seen him fold a pair before. Man, I really don't see calling with King 10 and then folding when you hit a 10 here. Just does not make much sense. We're going to get a raise to see where you're at?
Come on, this is 2010, not 2003.
John Delano says he seems to have a plan.
Oh God, I spoke too soon, didn't I?
Get tool re-raise.
What a dream. What a frickin' dream.
Re-raise 1,555,000.
He's like repping a set of 10s here. Would not be surprised to see Mcphee put another bet in.
And
Looks like
Kevin
it's going to be jump
re-raise.
the call. Nope, he does re-raise.
Yes, close to 3 million, 2.985, and Kettle will fold.
2,985,000 and Kettle pass. Kevin takes the pot. The re-raise.
And Kevin Mcphee increases his chip lead at this 7-handed final table.
Yeah, I don't think he can take the chance. I mean, of course you can, but it's not super appealing to, you know, let's say he's got something like King, Queen of Diamonds there.
Yeah.
You don't really want to just call and hate the river.
Decent crowd has
Hey, what's
turned
up,
out
dude?
to watch this final table.
Joe Scrobbler says more like Kevin Mcphee. I will allow it. Thank you for your comment.
Marcel is going to race.
There's an obvious bad
Caller.
lookalike for Collar, right?
An obvious what lookalike?
Bad lookalike.
Michael Stipe?
No, I was thinking more Moby.
Okay, they're interchangeable in my opinion.
No, Michael Stipe is far more skeletal.
They're skinny, bald musicians. It's Callis doesn't know the rule that you're not allowed to name another poker player when it comes to bad lookalikes. And man, oh man, this is a terrible flop for Collar.
Top pair against a set. And Inizan bets 175,000. Oh, wow. Collar improves to trips. Full house now for Inizan.
I mean, at least he has outs now.
It's a Collar cooler.
Cooler Collar.
400,000 for Mark.
How much does it play totally?
Collar collared by Cooler.
1.9, between 1.9 and 2 million.
Okay. I'm gonna raise.
Oh no.
Marcel is going to race.
I'm trying not to let the whole cards affect things a little too much. I don't really know if I love a raise here, regardless.
Inizan responds by moving all in.
Like, there's not a lot of worse kings out there. Can you fold this? No, he's not going to fold.
Should be around 900,000.
900. Wow.
I give you exact count.
Okay.
Just over 900, I think. This is a million.
So it doesn't matter. 900. I call. I call.
Okay.
Moby,
And Marcel calls.
meet Ahab.
King, Jack, he got 3 kings with a jack. And Marcel shows pocket 3s. He has a full house, trades, and a king. He does not want to see
Moby.
a king or a queen or a jack at the end. It's a 4, and Mark doubles up.
That is going to be a double up for Mark Inizan with the full house. Huge dent into Collar's stack.
Bad lookalike for... Why can't I remember this guy's name? Anyway, bad lookalike there, Jared from Veep.
Which player?
The guy who just won that hand.
Inizan.
Inazan, yeah, thank you.
140.
Don't know what that guy looks like.
Pretty good description, I thought. I call. 140.
Collar calling here with a better hand.
There's the club. Not comes ace of clubs.
Ace 10-3.
Marcel check.
Top pair for Collar. The gut shot straight draw for Nathwani. Action has been checked to him. He checks behind.
Turn card. Deuce of spades.
Deuce of spades doesn't change anything. Collar now better than a 9-1 favourite. Again it goes check check.
Never cut 3 of diamonds.
Collar still with the best of it.
Marcel bet 175.
From the far distance, Collar looks a bit like Phil Collins. Maybe the question should be, is there any musician that Collar doesn't look like? He has led the river for 175,000. And Nathwani calls with king high.
Seeker Jack and Marcel wins the hand.
I like his style.
I thought we were in Germany.
He is tough to predict, that kettle.
At that time, maybe you decided to do no break. I was organizing my friends coming in.
I didn't decide no break, unfortunately. I don't know who decided that.
I didn't realize Marco Neumann was such a big dude.
He's not as big as Artur Vasek.
No, but he'd be the biggest. There's a bunch of big guys at this table. This fellow looks pretty big, too, in the 2-seat.
Raised with ace king. Kevin Mcphee re-raises with sevens.
Kevin re-raised 420,000. Out to pass. More line and deep line pass. Comes back to Marco.
And then we can just tell from the few hands we've seen that Marco is capable of opening lights. You can see why Mcphee might re-raise with the sevens.
Well, it's all in and a call, and we're going to flip that coin one more time.
Like Rizzoli and Isles versus Luther. One of these two things from 2010 has the slight mathematical advantage.
A set of sevens for Kevin Mcphee. It is always coming 7.
The sevens from heavens for Kevin's.
And that will have Marco drawing dead on the turn. He's out in 7th place. And he cashes for 120,000 euros. And we are down to the final 6 players at EPT 6 Berlin in March of 2010.
Marco, nah, man.
I should have just let you keep barreling.
Hey, I remember this.
Stats.
Hard for you to have an ace when I have 3 aces, right?
Are those stats from the hands we've seen or from the hands played? Thank you for your question. Caller just fold ace jack?
Huh.
SMR Blamos asks, why is 7 always coming? You see, it's with the games and the flipping, and the 7, it is always coming.
What he
Does that
said.
explain it?
Perfectly. Perfect. Absolutely perfectly.
Well, well, well. Kevin Mcphee outflops the ace-9. 8-5 of clubs doing pretty well today on EPT Retro.
On the turn. Mark check.
Check.
10 misses both players.
River card, 7 of clubs. Mark check.
And it's a flush on the river for Kevin Mcphee. Had the best hand anyway.
Kevin bets 330.
Well still and Russell.
And
Mark pass. Kevin
bet fold. So apparently on the Disney Channel, there was a show in 2010 called Pair of Kings. And it was canceled in 2011 after one of the stars got arrested for getting a DUI.
This is all good information. These are great hashtag fun facts.
Tenuous connection to poker. Blamblamo says kings never hold. I don't know if that was a response to what I just said, but that's a pretty funny follow-up.
Kevin Cole, take 9 putts. Club comes 5 of clubs, 4 of diamonds, jack of clubs. Kevin is first to speak. Check. You let it bet 275.
Kevin Mcphee continues running pretty pure
Kevin,
at this final table. Top pair, top kicker. Not a lot of tough decisions for Kevin so far. Flops top set, flops middle set, flops top pair.
One.
Tough to believe he always has it, but he has always had it thus far. Speaking of Kevin Mcphee and Deauville, didn't we road trip with him once?
Yes, I believe that we gave him a lift back from Deauville to London. It was that year, Joe, when you just moved into your apartment in London. And after depositing Kevin, I then deposited you outside Argos.
Mark putt. Kevin putt.
Call.
Small blind. Call. 170.
When those guys robbed the casino, there's no way Vasek was anywhere in sight. I just would have turned right back around and walked out. Here, sir, you take my machete.
Eights versus King Jack. And it's a pair of jacks for Nathwani.
Poor Nathwani. Running the opposite of Kevin Mcphee. Can't really hit a hand he's crazy about.
Flop is 6, jack ace. It will bet 200,000. After pass.
Vasek folds the eights.
Pretty straightforward player.
We've got some stats.
So first it went, then 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 it went. You guys got that?
I thought that was an excellent summary of Artur Vasek's journey.
I'm going to do that from now on. Queen 10, small blind, I like it.
Always.
What's in the small blind? He's going to raise.
And this is a spot where I think I do. I'm always afraid when you raise Queen 10 here that you're going to get 3-bet.
Yeah.
But against a guy like Kettle, who has not really shown himself to get out of line too often, Isn't 3-betting light, isn't 3-betting at all. I think you have to raise it.
Go Switzerland. The raise and take it. Still in the TV shows. Blinds
It's not
40,
very neutral,
80.
is it?
Always.
And collar opening here with ace queen.
Oh boy.
Re-raised 430,000.
Tococalio 3 bets with queens, re-raising to 430,000. Action folded back around to collar. He shoves and gets called. Marcel Collar at risk and behind.
Collar decides to take all the guesswork out of it, unfortunately. Now he is a huge dog.
So Marcel is the all-in player with ace of clubs and the queen of spades. Hilary pocket queen. And let's see the flop. Flop comes jack of hearts.
Jack 9 6.
I don't know about the ace on the desk this time. I think queens may just hold.
Let's see the turn. Turn cut 7 of diamonds.
Well, the turn card actually takes away one of Collar's outs.
3 diamonds on the board. And Hilary
Ace of spades or the ace of hearts.
needs an ace and shouldn't be the ace of diamonds. Let's see the river card.
The river is a deuce. And we lose Marcel Collar in 6th place. He cashes for 165,000 euros, and 5 players remain at the final table of EPT Berlin.
The turn of a man into Swiss cheese.
And we can see that Mcphee still has the chip lead. Hilary Tococalio is now second in chips, but a significant lead for Mcphee, 11.6 million. With 5 players remaining. Katal Nathwani, the current short stack. So let me just dig out this story from Poker News. So clearly, when there was the disruption on the penultimate day and everyone evacuated the building, they came back, and as I said, there were certain events that couldn't be restarted. But the main event, because it was on the far side of the room, and at that point was down to 2 tables, was unaffected. So they basically said to the players, sit down, we're going to restart. Now, interestingly, there was a hand at that table where there'd been an all-in, and the hand was on the turn at the point that everyone had left and run out, and when they came back, there are the cards, the chips, the deck untouched. But what a weird situation, and let me tell you what the situation was. Luca Canelli had moved all in, and Hilary Tococalio had called. Canelli tabled ace-queen, Tococalio tabled ace-10, and the board had run out, flop, turn, brick, 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 brick. So with 1 card to come, Tococalio was about to double up this guy. And Thomas Kremser, the tournament director, said, guys, because we had to abandon, we could kill this hand, and we could just chop the pot. But Hilary Tococalio, despite the fact that he was drawing to 3 tens, said, no, let it play out. And his opponent doubled up through him. And I think that brought him karma. If karma is a thing, it was alive and well, and then saw Hilary Tococalio through to making the final table as a big stack.
I don't mean to criticize Thomas Kremser, but what a weird decision to allow a player to make. That seems off to me. I feel like why put someone, and I'm glad it worked out for him, but that just seems like what do you do in that spot?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It is one of those situations where you'd almost rather the floor just make the decision. Either we're going to play out the hand or the hand is dead. I would lean towards the latter, even though I think that's slightly unfair on the player with the ace-queen, purely because you don't know if that deck's been touched. The room was not observed, was vacant for that period of time. I see what you mean. To leave it to the players is awkward, but as played, that's still a nice gesture, right? To say, I'm the player who's drawing to 3 outs. I'm the player who could benefit from saying, no, I think we should kill the hand and give us half the pot. But says, no, the guy's about to double up. Give him his chips.
It's such a strange predicament because poker is a game where as long as you're acting within the rules, right, that you're supposed to kind of do what you need to do to win.
Yeah.
And given the opportunity to take a chop pot there, I feel like that's such a minus EV play that I really hate the fact that he was given that decision. Good for him. Look, I like to play results, and the result is he makes the final table anyway, so we're just going to leave it at that. But God, am I glad I never had to be put in that position.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were worse things about that day, and clearly a very awkward situation for all the players and some tough decisions that had to be made.
Although I will say, James, I guess if my chip stack were such that I could stand doubling the guy up, obviously, right? It wasn't his tournament life.
Yes,
on the
correct.
So I would probably tend to make the same decision, like, no, play the hand out. Like, probably no one messed with this hand. It was very unlikely anyone had. But, man, you feel like such a dodo just turning down half the pot.
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's just recap where we are. We are in Berlin. It is spring of 2010. It is the 7th of March of that year, and it's the final table of the first ever EPT Berlin. Total prize pool of 4.7 million, an event that started with 945 players and is now down to the final 5. And as we rejoin the action at the final table, we can see that Kevin Mcphee has double average, big chip leader right now with 11.8 million.
Sick.
Next cash is for 210,000 euros. Up top, a guaranteed first prize of 1 million euros. Blinds 40-80.
Right, we know Kevin Mcphee has been running purer than a bottle of Dasani. See if it continues. Well, not sure about this shove. I mean, I'm incredibly not sure about it, given I can see the hole cards. But you're not even doing great against hands that'll call you. Like
Yeah.
Queen, like 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s you're doing bad against.
So it is Domination Nation, and it's Nathwani's
You don't want to let me go?
tournament life on the line.
This standing up maybe makes him look a little more confident. Nope.
McPhee makes the call. Let's run this board.
It is Domination Nation. Will Kevin Mcphee continue to run the way the percentages say?
He is crushing at this final table. Nathwani looking for a 6. But it is a 9 high flop, and that will leave him with 4% equity. Okay. We get a sweat card on the turn. Nathwani now with the open-ended straight draw.
Look how gassed he is.
No deuce or 7 on the river. And Kevin Mcphee eliminates Kettle Nathwani in 5th place at a cash of 210,000 euros.
Looks like the Kettle should have done a little less calling. pot.
It was the long pause before you added the pot that made it.
Still just about 2x average for Kevin Mcphee.
Oh man, such a good bad joke. Exactly. Just like our bad lookalikes. So bad, they're good. I like this one from Sam Sam. No more kettle chips.
Like about 3 million.
3 million, trochę może więcej.
Kettle
Pretty
chips.
good too.
Call.
Vasek raising small to big with King Queen. Ilari Takokallio defends with King Jack of Diamonds.
And Tucker Kallio should definitely proceed with caution. Vasek is a very straightforward player from what we've seen thus far. Not so much to be cautious about here when you make top pair second kicker.
Out flopped.
Vasek, as I said, plays pretty straightforward. Misses, checks.
That is a full house.
And when you don't bet this flop, it's pretty hard to rep anything here. Like if Taco Kallio had any small pair, he'd probably call.
Yeah. Well, it just gets better.
Two full houses.
That beats King High any day of the week.
Yes. Yes, it does. Baby Dog asks, can you explain why they stopped putting the most important stat, the time, on the updates?
Cool.
What?
Well, I guess he's playing the board. He thinks it's a chop.
Waleta.
Yeah, it's not that crazy of a call.
Wiem, że.
Jack of diamonds, king of diamonds. Full house jacks.
You just got Vasect.
Więcej chyba.
Just got Taco Kallio'd.
And over the next few hands, let's see what happens.
Come on. There it is.
So Mcphee slips a little bit, but no real significant movement. I'd argue that that transition was largely unnecessary and pointless. Vasek raising with ace-10 of clubs.
This chip's screaming.
Pocket nines for Taco Kallio.
Oh, great. Another flip. Jeepers creepers.
A re-raise to 835k.
To rysowanie? O ile? Skoluję. Niech tam zobaczy, żeby było dobrze.
Just calling. All right.
Vasek looks angry.
Nah.
Well, he shouldn't be angry about that flop. And immediately moves all in.
The most straightforward player we have ever seen. Like a very easy fold to me. What is he snap jamming with that nines are doing well against? Nothing. Easy game, says Codename Jumper. Where is the time of day? King 7, chip leader, four-handed, in position, raise.
He's following your advice, Joe. Kevin Mcphee makes it 190,000, and Artur Vasek grabs a tower of orange and re-raises to 695.
Do you know how much you started the hand with?
O co chodzi, bo nie rozumiem.
Can we
And
get a
Kevin's
translator?
such a sweet boy.
Pytał mnie?
Do we have subtitles?
Approximately you started the hand with. That's all.
Before we started after the break.
What's this guy's deal?
No, I mean this hand. How much do you start the hand with?
You want to know his stack?
I just want to know what my stack was. Yeah,
How
yeah.
much he has behind?
Oh, sure.
Co? A,
Keep asking him the question again and again in English. You're not going to get a different answer.
What he started the hand with, that's all.
I mean, they only have to show him the stack, right? He doesn't have to count it down.
That's another mil. So you had like 1.8, like he had like 2 million.
Like 1.8 or 1.8.
Okay. Whoops. It's all yours.
It seems like a fold for the amount of money Vasek has left behind, and there it goes.
I didn't mean for that to take so long. Sorry. Just wanted to know. Approximately.
Ah, he's a sweet boy.
Pocket nines.
I think when you look one at a time like that, you're like 3 to 4 times more likely to pair your card.
Stapes logic. So raised to 190,000. Actions on Mark Inazan, who's got ace king in the bag.
More like all Inazan.
Where he raises to 700,000.
call. All in call.
And all in and a call.
Escalation Nation.
Another coin flip, Joe.
Like Windows 7 versus the iPod Nano, one of these two things from 2010. Yada, yada, yada.
The king high flop.
All right, so Kevin Mcphee finally taking a major blow.
Inazan doubles up through the chip leader.
No, dude, you're still in. No, you go back. He's not out. So he went.
Who is Gunther von Hagen supporting, by the way? I've seen him like smile and clap almost every player. Love your bodies expo, by the way. There's always one. Windows 7 release date July 22nd, 2009. Raise with 10 deuce, Inazan calling with 8-7, and Kevin Mcphee with ace-king in the bag. Some guy asks, is there a free roll code at the end of the stream? Why don't you keep watching till the end of the stream to find out?
Cool spot for a re-raise. People tend to take the big blind re-raise pretty seriously. Obviously, Tucker Kallio has very few options here. And Inazan should be the same out of position. What? Did he say raise? Oh, this is not going to end well for him.
You've just won those chips from Kevin Mcphee. Don't gift them back to him.
This is more ill-timed than the release date of Microsoft's Windows 7. Folds before the graphic can even update.
Mcphee gets a decent chunk back. Mcphee still chip leader with 9.2 million. Four-handed at this final table. And Mcphee with kings now.
Kind of feels like this is written in the poker stars, James.
Raises to 230,000. Pocket threes for Ellery Tucker Kallio. Oh, for a moment, I thought Inazan was going to blast off again. Instead, just calls out of the big, and we're going three-way to the flop.
What was it, 230,000 a call? Seems kind of optimistic with 8-6 offsuit, but whatever. Flops a very dangerous hand.
Flops second pair. Mcphee still big favorite with an overpair to the board.
I like his very like. Check. Check.
460,000.
Is it terrible that I'd be tempted to call here with threes one time? Yeah, yeah. Inazan also going nowhere.
So still three-handed going to the turn. And that turn card is a 3.
Yes. Oh, how good does it feel to turn a set there?
And he's going to lead.
Obviously, based on these exact hands, I like the lead. But when it goes back, you call, and then there's an overcall behind you, I think that leading here is pretty safe. Oh, Inazan.
He just went raise immediately and makes it 2 million. What do you do now with kings?
I think you can fold kings. I think you can fold kings.
It's like, what happened here? Suddenly the small blind leads, and then the big blind raises on a 3 of diamonds turn?
You hate yourself when you fold and it's like jack against jack. I guess sometimes diamonds are just gonna lead.
I guess.
Or like diamonds, like an ace 4 of diamonds might lead. Yeah, but when in is and raises, it just looks so strong. Good fold, but probably for the wrong reason.
Mcphee gets away from the king's action back on Taco Kallio with his set of threes. He's got a lock on the hand.
More like Taco Bellio because things just got a little bit spicy.
A shove and a fold.
Mcphee really needs to know what Taco Kallio had there.
What did you fold? Huh? What did you fold? Kings. I folded kings.
Taco Bellio had Kevin Mcphee running for the border.
I imagine it was a decent fold, unless you guys are just like a couple sickos. But you guys are sick, so who knows?
Inazan's definitely a sicko.
But it was a good fold nonetheless.
Folding kings, fun times.
Does that
All
mean
right,
that
so Illyria's,
he's now the chip leader, Joe?
well, that's pretty sick.
12.5 million. Yeah, must be. Well, on this next hand, we're going to sweat with Kevin Mcphee and play the hand from his perspective. It's been folded to him on the button, and he's got King 4 of hearts.
I would have rather sweat with him on the last hand. Then we would have really seen if I would recommend a fold on the turn.
Kevin raises to 270,000.
Suited king on the button, short-handed. Absolutely. We can raise.
Action is on Hillary, on the big blind, and he calls. 270,000.
Big blind defend.
And the flop shows.
King 9, 6, 1 heart.
So we were going to have to continue almost every flop. Now that we have top pair, certainly we should be continuing.
Kevin continues for 360,000.
Hillary calls. 360,000.
Taco Kallio calls. This hand going to the turn, which is the 5 of clubs.
Well, it's not a great card for us. Check, check. I like it.
River card is another king.
All right, so now we're beating some 2 pairs that might have caught up on the turn. We're still obviously a little bit worried about 7-8, but I don't think we can not value bet this.
1.38 million in the pot.
There's also a small chance we're up against bigger kings. A naked bigger king probably can't raise us, but a full house can.
Well, Kevin's going to bet some bumblebee chips with some oranges on top. That's 880,000.
Taco Kallio doesn't look super happy with this bet, so I like it so far. Looks like he's genuinely got a decision. I don't think he can act like this and then raise, and I think as long as we don't get raised. Boy, maybe he's got like a big pocket pair that he slow played.
He's called the 880 with ace-6. Bottom pair on the flop, picked up the flush draw on the turn, heroes the river with just a pair of 6s. And is that enough for Mcphee to reclaim the chip lead?
Yeah, what a nice pot for Kevin Mcphee.
Answer is yes. Mcphee with 11.77 million. Ilari Takokallio 10.9 million. And Mcphee continues to have the advantage, and then Ilari takes it back. Still pretty close, and a lot of distance between Takokallio and Mcphee and the other two players. Inizan on 3.6 million, Arta Vasek on 1.7 million. Vasek with queens, and he limps.
Okay, I said he plays pretty straightforward. This is the most creative we've seen him so far.
Joe,
this is the kind of creativity I like the least.
I appreciate that we're short-handed, but this is officially a Gibbons. He has limped under the gun.
Yes, Gibbons me.
All in.
Oh man, this plan worked out perfectly, except for the fact that Inizan has kings.
Wow.
Vasek picks a terrible spot and gets unlucky, although could still spike a queen.
Yeah.
So Arthur is all in with pair of queens, queen of diamonds, queen of hearts, against Mark with pair of kings, king of clubs, king of spades. Let's see the flop. Flop shows.
All right, well, there's some life there.
So Mark is still on the lead with pair of kings, but now Arthur has a straight draw. Let's see. The 8. The deuce of spades. And the river card.
Is he going to river a straight? No, king's hold. And Arta Vasek is out in fourth place, cashing for 280,000 euros.
James, would you say Vasek's been removed?
Yes.
Would you say it was a vasectomy?
Oh, Christ.
Okej. No co zrobić, no widziałeś jak się wjebałem, no. Witam.
We're now three-handed at this final table. 61-20 the blinds. Kevin Mcphee on the button.
Raise 270.
Makes it 270,000.
70,000. Mark close to 170,000. That's up to the flop.
Wow. Kevin Mcphee flops a straight. Inizan with top pair.
This guy running super pure at this final table. Inizan with less than a 10% chance to catch up in a spot where he's going to think that he is pretty good most of the time. Yep. You really can't fault the guy for raising with top pair and a good draw.
Yeah. Inizan check raises the flop.
Raise to 890,000.
What a dream. What a great situation. And he's not even up against hearts.
Mcphee re-raises to 1.72 million.
Inazan has made a ton of big laydowns.
He just
Not
said I
big
raise.
laydowns, but laydowns after getting a little out of line. And yeah, he's just not going to lay it down this time.
Well, he's got a straight draw of his own to go with top pair. Responds by making it 2.7 million.
I mean, he really shouldn't be behind very often here. Although Kevin's going to be raising any two from the button. So, I mean, Kevin's not supposed to have like Jack 7 or Jack 8, I don't think, but he could. He could have 7, 8 easily. 9, 10's pretty a better Jack.
All in and a call. Inazan drawing thin.
Showdown. Kevin shows 9 of
Inazan drawing Thinazan.
Flop to straight. Mark sent is
I wish you could have seen his face there. He was so proud.
8, 8.
turn card is a 4 of
Hearts not a factor.
No help for Mark.
And Inazan is drawing to a chop.
And the river card. An ace of clubs.
We lose Mark Inazan in third place, cashing for 350,000 euros.
Inazan, Outazan.
And that's going to take us down to the final two players. Kevin Mcphee from the USA with 20.4 million. Heads up against Ilari Takokallio from Finland with 8 million. Blinds at 80,000, 160,000. And if memory serves me correctly, these two have history. I believe they've played heads up before. We see Ilari raising the button with 8-6 off.
Kevin makes the call.
And Kevin calls with Jack 9. 6-5-5.
6 of diamonds, 5 of spades, 5 of diamonds. Kevin checks.
I like betting with the gut shot here.
425,000.
His paired is 6.
Oh, sorry. And has a pair of 6s. Absolutely.
Raised 1 million.
Even more. Yeah, Kevin, I don't think can really call there. And Takokallio doesn't seem like the type that's just going to fold a 6. Kevin's really not supposed to have a 5. Of course he can, but, you know, just based on pure math, you're not going to flop trips very often. Top pair is going to be good here the vast majority of the time.
Yeah. Takokallio calls.
Kevin makes the call.
And this hand is going to the turn.
175,000. Turn cards. Deuce of clubs.
Pretty good turn for Takokallio.
Kevin checks.
Fires 1.5 million.
Hillary bets 1.5 million.
Yeah, the Bumblebee chips, by the way, I think are the 100Ks, whereas the standalone yellows are the 1Ks. So to answer your question, yes, there is a difference between the two.
I think McPhee's going to try to make this look good and just get out of town for this hand. Yep.
And Hillary takes the pot.
Golf applause as Takokallio wins that pot.
Don't really see a rail for Kevin Mcphee.
Is Gunther Van Hagen still around? He'll support anyone.
Pocket Kings. What was his name? Cowboy Face?
Yeah.
Kevin raises to 350,000.
Re-raise with 9-4 of diamonds.
Man, this has been the final table of ill-timed aggression. Cowboys for Cowboy Face. Thank you, Smernster. That's what Kevin Mcphee used to call a stare down. I think Officer Mcphee was the gag I employed when I finally did
Kevin re-raise.
my first TV coverage of Kevin Mcphee.
2,040,000.
Mcphee re-raises.
Nothing against Taco Calio, but I would love to see an epic heads-up punt right here.
Punt denied. You're a bad man, Joseph.
I mean, look, we've covered a lot of final tables.
So that was going to be it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we seen just a heads-up blast-off with total air? We
Not-
must have.
Well, this heads-up battle is going to last a while, so we're going to need a montage.
Montaging our way through this epic heads-up battle.
8 of hearts.
And that is a double-up for Ilari Takokallio.
Taco, taco, double up. Double taco up.
Mcphee still with the chip lead, though. Drawing even.
Oh, my back is hurting so bad. Huh? My back is hurting so bad. Yeah, this is going to be long, isn't it? I get the feeling we're going to be doing this for a while. Showing. I know.
Trading blows. And now Ilari has the chip lead again.
Wow. Did not see that coming. I wish I'd seen it.
No, I mean, having fun, but it's taking a long time. Yeah. This is my second time heads up, and it's both times we've been heads up against each other. How sick is that? Yeah. Stop showing up to all the tournaments on that. Go back to school.
So Kevin referencing that this is only the second live MTT where he's been heads up, and both times was against Ilari Takokallio. In fact, thank you to one of our producers, Matt, for providing the note. The event Kevin's referring to is the 1K pot limit Hold'em Omaha event at EPT 6 London. Ilari won for 30K, Kevin was second for 18K.
Sick.
Kevin with the
I
chip
didn't even get
advantage
the
right
impression
now.
these guys knew each other at all. Gives us a little context. Well, both players with a straight draw. Kevin with a pair and the up and down draw. Takakala with 2 overs, backdoor hearts, and the gut shot.
That's 750.
Ilari bet 750. Raise to 2,050,000.
Mcphee raising.
Re-raise all in.
Takokallio all in, and Kevin Mcphee calls.
Ilari is all in.
Not as big a punt as it would have been before, but
Ilari's all in hand is 9.
kind of punty.
9 high, got shot straight draw. He needs to trade for straight. Let's see the turn.
We get a sweaty turn.
We
can
do.
indeed.
So gut shot straight draw, flush draw on the turn, 32% equity, but a 68% chance that Kevin Mcphee becomes the champion, and he does with a straight on the river. Kevin Mcphee takes down EPT 6 Berlin, winning €1 million. Ilari Tokokalio, the runner-up for 600K.
The champion of EPT Berlin.
That was a long heads-up battle. I remember it well. They did trade blows, and they traded the chip lead. But it's Mcphee who emerged triumphant, winning that 7-figure score for the win. And that concludes our coverage of EPT Berlin from 2010. And that is going to conclude our EPT Retro coverage for today. One more day to go, Joe. 2 more events to cover. We've got San Remo. We've got Monte Carlo. And as long teased, as long advertised, tomorrow you will also get my rendition, my performance of the EPT Rap Ride on the River. All that to come on tomorrow's stream. But that is going to wrap us up for today. Any last thoughts? Any last words?
Do you have to rehearse, or are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. I'm going to have the words, though, on standby. I think I remember most of them, but you don't want to forget a line. You don't want to flub midway through. So karaoke style, you've just got to have the lyrics there for reference.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to be sad to see EPT Retro go, but all good things must come to an end.
There's more good stuff on the horizon, which we will talk about down the line. But crucially, we hope you can be with us tomorrow, back on air at the usual time. That's 1 p.m. UK time. That's 2 p.m. Central European time, with the final EPT Retro, the final 2 events from Season 6 of the European Poker Tour. Thanks for your company today. We'll see you tomorrow. From Joe Stapleton and me, James Hartigan, it's goodbye.